This is Josiah Plays Lone Wolf, Book 27, Vampirium. The Claw of Nar is the evil wand of power used by Agarash the Damned during his ancient conquest of Magnamund. Legend held that it had been lost forever in the molten ruins of Naros, but now it has resurfaced, and its dread return heralds a dawn of disaster for the peaceable nations of Magnamund. Your allies, the wise wizards of the Elder Magi, have the power and the means to destroy the accursed claw, but they do not possess it. In Vampirium, you must venture into the hostile land of Banar and snatch the claw from the clutches of the evil autarch Senos. Can you deliver the claw safely to the Elder Magi, or will you be destroyed by the terrifying wrath of the vampire lord Senos? Hello and welcome to another Lone Wolf book. This is the 27th in the series. It is the 27th that we have streamed and recorded here, and we've done them all. They've been lots of fun. I loved these books as a kid, except I never actually got this far in the books when I was a kid. But these were written back in the late 80s, early 90s by Joe Deaver, a sadist who decided to write books. I don't know if he was actually a sadist, but he writes books as though he was. Also illustrated by Brian Williams. This digital version you see here that I'm playing through is courtesy of ProjectAeon.org, who have all the Lone Wolf books on their site. The music you hear in the background is all by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. Links to his work will be in the YouTube description. So here we go. We're going to play some Vampirium, Book 27. Are you ready? For Julian Egglestaff. Wherever you are, Julian, I hope you know this is for you, apparently. Acknowledgements, yeah. We're not going to acknowledge the acknowledgements. He's still alive and still writing books, so maybe he's bringing his brand of soul-destroying sadism to a whole new generation. Alright, here we go. It's time for the story so far, where we'll read about the things that have happened many, many books ago. Again. And then a little bit of what sets up this book. Are you ready? Here we go. The story so far. It is spring in the year MS 5085, and you are a Grand Master of the New Order of the Kai, the warrior elite of Summerland. 35 years ago, the First Order of the Kai was massacred by the Dark Lords of Helgadad, a host of powerful creatures sent by the evil god Nar to destroy the world of Magnamund. Lone Wolf, the supreme leader of your illustrious fighting order, was the only survivor of their attack upon the Kai. As a young initiate, he stood amid the burning wreckage of the old Kai monastery and vowed to avenge the slaughter of his comrades. 20 years later, he kept his pledge when alone he infiltrated the foul domain of the Dark Lords and destroyed the infernal city of Helgadad, the base of their evil power. With the destruction of Helgadad, chaos befell the Darkland armies, who had, until then, been poised to conquer all Magnamund. Quickly, their disorder escalated into a mutinous civil war, allowing the Freeland Alliance armies of Magnamund time enough to recover and launch a successful counteroffensive. Against all odds, a swift and total victory was secured over the feuding armies of evil. Following the demise of the Dark Lords, peace reigned in your homeland of Summerland. Under the direction of Lone Wolf, the ruined Monastery of the Kai was rebuilt and restored to its former glory, and a new order was established. You are one of this new generation of Kai recruits. You were born in Summerland in the year MS 5063, during the time of the war against the Dark Lords. When you were 7 years old, you were sent by your father to the Kai Monastery. There, under the tutelage of Lone Wolf, you developed your martial skills and honed the special Kai abilities which lay dormant within you. Special Kai abilities such as astrology and herb mastery and bardsmanship. If Fire Snake becomes a Supreme Master, he apparently becomes co-leader of the Kai. Oh, that would be bad. Your skills were nurtured and sharpened to perfection by years of study and rigorous training. Your exceptional talents helped you to master all of the Kai and Magna Kai disciplines, and swiftly you rose through the ranks of the New Order to become one of only 5 who now hold the high rank of Kai Grand Master. It is an achievement that has brought great honor upon you and your family. In the year MS 5077, your skill and courage were put to the test when an attack was launched upon the Kai Monastery during Lone Wolf's absence. By means of a Shadow Gate, an astral corridor between the physical world of Samarland and the many ethereal domains which lie beyond it, Nar sent forth a host of dragon creatures to besiege the monastery and lay waste to all Samarland. He had chosen his time well, yet his evil plan was thwarted by the tenacious defense that you and your fellow warriors maintained until the siege was raised by Lone Wolf and the King's army of Samarland. There's a note. Oh, that was in Dawn of the Dragons. During the 7 years since the defeat of his minions, Nar has sought vengeance upon the Kai. He commands many agents of evil upon Magnamund, and they wait quietly in the shadows for the chance to serve their fell master. You have recently returned to the monastery after successfully completing a dangerous mission in the Kingdom of Bor. That was in the last book that we just read, Fall of Blood Mountain. The vast underground realm of Bor is home to the Drodaran dwarves, the oldest allies of the Kai. Forbidden excavations in the lowest levels of the kingdom had awoken and released the Shamza, a supernatural creature entombed by Magnamund's earliest magicians, the Elder Magi, during their ancient war against Nar's legendary champion, Agarash the Damned. The editor was like, lol, when did this happen? So they had to put the footnotes in. Yeah. Lord Ramoa, Speaker for the High Council of the Elder Magi, traveled with you to Bor aboard a wondrous flying ship called Cloud Dancer, and with his help you were able to defeat the Shamza and save your Drodaran allies from destruction. 3 months after you returned from Bor, Lord Ramoa came to the Kai Monastery aboard Cloud Dancer. His visit was unexpected, and you sensed at once that something was wrong. Lone Wolf summoned you to his chamber where, with mounting dread, you listened to Lord Ramoa's account of events in southern Magnamund that threatened to destroy the fragile peace of that continent. The Elder Magi had received word from King Carvas of Cian that Autarch Sejanaz, the evil ruler of Banar, had secretly dispatched a squad of his Imperial Guards into the Doomlands of Naros. That, with a name like the Doomlands of Naros, I bet tourism isn't great there. At first, neither the king nor the elders could fathom a reason why the Autarch had done this. The Doomlands are one of the most inhospitable regions in all of Magnamund, a barren wasteland of ash and cinders that once was the domain of Agarash the Damned. At its center stood his mighty fortress city of Naros. Yet, following his defeat by the Elder Magi, all that remains of it now is a titanic chasm of molten lava and heat-fused rock. Fearing for the security of his southern borderlands, King Carvas sent a group of elite Sienese rangers into the Doomlands to spy on the Autarch's men in the hope of discovering their true purpose. When, after 6 weeks, nothing was heard from the group, the king and his court assumed they had perished. Then, a few days later, Carvas received word unexpectedly from his missing men. They had tracked the squad of the Autarch's Imperial Guard deep into the Doomlands, and they had observed them excavating an unmarked burial mound near to the ruins of Naros. And it was here that they were to witness a chilling discovery, for buried beneath the mound lay the Claw of Nar. Welcome back, Boss Pie. How you doing? The Claw of Nar is an ancient wand of power that was crafted by the evil god himself and used by Agarash the Damned during his conquest of Magnamon. Legend held that it had been lost forever in the molten ruin of Naros, but now it had resurfaced, and its return boded trouble for the peaceable nations bordering upon the autocracy of Benar. The Rangers reported that the Autarch squad were returning to Benar with the Claw in their possession. Their chosen route would take them through the southern Damardon Mountains, and so the Rangers went ahead to hide themselves in Sunderer Pass, where they intended to await their arrival. Their plan was to ambush the squad in the narrow confines of the pass and steal away the Claw. However, the Ranger leader was fearful that the power of the Claw might overwhelm his small group. He requested of his king that help be sent urgently. Carvis responded to his plea by seeking the aid of the Elder Magi, and upon hearing of the situation, Lord Ramoa readily agreed to assist. In turn, Lone Wolf, I have come this day to ask for the help of the Kai, said Ramoa. We of the Elder Magi have the power and the means to destroy the Claw of Nar, but only when we have that cursed object in our possession. To secure the Claw will require skills and courage that only the Kai possess, such as bardsmanship and herb mastery. And so I come here seeking your aid, Supreme Master. It will not be an easy task, replied Lone Wolf thoughtfully, but we have the advantage of both speed and surprise. Sunderer Pass is no more than a day's journey away by skyship. Aye, replied Ramoa, but we must depart this afternoon if we are to be certain of reaching the pass before the arrival of the Autarch squad. Lone Wolf slowly turned to face you. I am tempted to accept this challenge myself, Grandmaster, he said as he held you with his unblinking gaze. But, alas, I must attend a war council tomorrow at the King's Court in Holmgard. Will you journey to Benar in my stead and help Lord Ramoa to capture the Claw of Nar? Yes, my lord, he replied without hesitation, for the greater glory of Summerlin and the Kai. I am proud to accept this task. And that's the end of the, and this is the part where Ramoa and Lone Wolf just stare at Fire Snake again, like, seriously? Why does he always do that? But, Fire Snake is a spoony bard and he must sing every line that he speaks. This was a rule established early on, in the very first Fire Snake book, which was, I don't even know. I don't even know. 20 was the last Lone Wolf book, so 21 was the Voyage of the Moonstone. So back in book 21, we established the singing rule. A war council. Sounds like a likely excuse. He just doesn't want to go all the way down there. Alright, moving forward. Game rules, still the same. Kai name, yeah. New discipline time. We get to pick a new discipline because we completed another book. So this time, I think I am going to pick... I think I am going to actually choose... Grand Hunt Mastery. Yeah, you guys thought I was going to fit Kai Alchemy, cut the games. Grand Hunt Mastery this time. What? New Order Grandmasters are able to see in total darkness, and they possess great natural speed and agility. They also have a superb sense of touch and taste. If you have chosen the discipline of Grand Hunt Mastery as one of your skills, you will not need to take off a meal when instructed to eat. Nice. Your dude's name is Stormhawk? Okay. Okay. I don't need Kai Alchemy. Alchemy is for suckers. It's for suckers, I say. Suckers! Taking Grand Hunt Mastery and we're gonna have a great time with it. Alright, let's take a look at our... Oh, and in so doing, I get to add a point to my combat skill. It's up to 53. I get to add 2 points to my endurance, up to 47. We're starting to get up to some lone wolf-like numbers here now. I don't remember what my final numbers were for lone wolf, but I think we're starting to get up towards them. Passmanship? Can't do it this time. Need that hunt mastery. The hunger of Senos. Well, spoiler alert, apparently we do not beat Senos in this book. He's gonna be the new Kadak, maybe? Alright, equipment. I get to get some extra gold. Unfortunately, I am already maxed out on gold, so I'm not going to take any additional gold. Now, I can take five items from the list below. Let's get a quiver with 6 arrows. We'll jump back up to 6 arrows. I've got a flute here, but I've already got a flute and a crown pipe. I don't really need meals, but I'll take this extra potion of Lomspur. Now I have 3 of those. I'll take the meals anyway, just in case. I can always throw them away. I can always throw them away if I need space. But I can carry 15 items in my backpack now. And I'm only carrying 12, so I can still carry 3 more items. We've got our Kai weapon, Frappe Soleil. Rules for combat still the same. What is our rank now? Sun Lord, I think. I think we're a Sun Lord. Sun Lord makes me think of Edgelord. Alright, improved disciplines. Let's look for Grand Hunt Mastery in the old ranks. Oh, I get to choose another weapon for my Grand Weapon Mastery, too. I think we'll go Mace now. Grand Weapon Mastery. Grand Hunt Mastery. Kai Grand Guardians with this skill enjoy increased mobility when traveling across all types of terrain, whether on foot or on horseback. This improved ability can be very useful when used to outdistance a pursuing enemy. Sun Knight. Okay, Sun Lord, here's the new rank. So, Grand Weapon Mastery with Sun Lord. Sun Lords with this discipline are able to cause the metal edge of any non-magical weapon to ignite and burn fiercely. When a weapon thus affected is used in combat, it inflicts an additional 1 endurance point loss upon an enemy in every successful round of combat. This ability cannot be used with a wholly wooden weapon such as a quarterstaff. So if for some reason I'm not using one of my magic weapons, like Frappe Soleil or Sunderer, for some reason, if I have to use my plain old sword, I can heat up the blade. Herb Mastery, here we go. Here we go. Sun Lords who possess this discipline are able to cause living plants, e.g., grasses, bushes, flowers, weeds, rushes, to entwine themselves around the limbs of hostile creatures, thereby hampering their free movement. Sun Lords are able to target only one creature in this way. An additional creature can be affected for every level a Grand Master rises above the rank of Sun Lord. So it's a shitty single target entangle first level druid spell. Alright, I'm thrilled. Assimilants don't have it. Grand Hunt Mastery, I just got it. Kai Sunlords with this skill are able to see with acute accuracy light in the infrared spectrum, i.e. they can see the complex patterns generated by heat in near or total darkness. They can also see light in the ultraviolet spectrum. Oh yeah, your fucking fingerprints won't hide from me. If you've got one of those invisible hand stamps, you know, from a club that only shows up under UV light, I can see that shit. Yeah. Kai Surge, I have it. Sunlords who possess mastery of this discipline are able to launch a Kai Blast, a pulse of intense psychic energy which is capable of affecting both psychically active and inactive enemies. This form of psychic attack is very effective, more so than a usual Kai Surge, Psi Surge, or Mind Blast. It can cause an enemy to lose between 2 and 18 endurance points in one attack. A Kai Sunlord using Kai Blast determines the damage inflicted on an enemy by picking 2 numbers from the random number table. These numbers should be added together. A 0 equals 1. And the resultant total equals the damage inflicted. However, use of a Kai Blast will reduce a Sunlord's endurance points total by 4. It cannot be used in conjunction with any other form of psychic attack. Huh. Okay. Kai Surge, Kai Blast. I don't know about this Kai Blast nonsense. Magi Magic, here we go, I have it. Grandmasters who have reached the rank of Sunlord are able to use the following battle spells of the Elder Magi. Penetrate! Well, it's good that I've reached high enough rank that I'm finally able to penetrate. This increases the penetrative energy of any arrow or arrow-like missile launched by a Sunlord. Energy Grasp. This spell enables a Sunlord to discharge a powerful electrical force into anything he or she touches. It is similar in effect to the Brotherhood spell Lightning Hand. It differs in that it is easier to control and channel the resulting energy. It also requires the actual touching of an object or enemy to affect the spell. You know that thing you get with Kai Alchemy at level 1? Well, here's a shittier version of it. A version with shittier range at like level 10. Lol. Bardsmanship. Kai Sunlords with this skill are able to direct their musical abilities to disrupt the structure of inanimate breakable objects, e.g. glass, ceramics, urns, flasks, causing them to explode violently. Any person or creature in close proximity to the destroyed object risks injury from flying fragments. Wow. Bardsmanship continues to really blow me away with its awesomeness. Alright, moving forward. New Order Wisdom. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'll leave you to read this giant-ass lie. Alright, so apparently it doesn't matter what your initial combat skill is, guys. Apparently not. Alright, here we go. We're about to go to section 1. The actual beginning of the book. Here we go. Within the hour, you find yourself standing beside Lord Ramoa at the deck rail of the sleek flying ship Cloud Dancer. You know, Bandit's gotta be sick of this shit. I've been using his ship for every damn adventure. He's like, look, am I ever gonna get my sky ship back, or... I mean, you said you just needed to borrow it for a couple of days. It's been months. Yeah, it's cool, Bandit. We'll bring it right back to you. We'll bring it right back. watching the Kai Monastery melt away into the distance as the craft soars into an azure sky. The weather is fresh and clear, and you are blessed with a strong tailwind that will assist your long journey south to the land of Banar. Ramoa has already charted a course for Sunderer Pass. Sunderer Pass? And I have a weapon called Sunderer. What? I think I get extra combat skill with Sunderer if I'm using it in Sunderer Pass. That's just logical. Okay, let's see. Ramoa has already charted a course for Sunderer Pass. And as his young Taurinese crew attend to the running of the skyship, you settle back into the plush comfort of the captain's cabin and discuss with him the details of your mission. After a delicious supper, you retire early and rise late in order to be best prepared for the task ahead. By noon of the next day, you have already crossed the Tentarius and entered into southern Magnamund. You spend much of the early afternoon standing at the bow rail, lost in your thoughts as an endless panoply of rolling hills and grasslands pass silently beneath Cloud Dancer's gleaming keel. When the forbidding peaks of the Darkwall Mountains are sighted on the horizon, Ramoa takes charge of the helm and steers the skyship on a southeasterly bearing to avoid them. These mountains mark the northern boundary of the Doomlands of Naros, and Ramoa is anxious to avoid this notoriously stormy region. Skillfully, he navigates a course around the eastern boundary of the Doomlands, until, late in the afternoon, you see the snow-capped tips of the southern Damerton Mountains soar into view. Ramoa passes the helm back to his bosun, and then he hurries to join you at the bow rail. "Keep your eyes peeled, Grandmaster," he says. "Sunderer Pass is a narrow gorge. It'll be hard to spot from here." Aided by your ability to magnify your vision, you are the first one to see the tiny pass. Ramoa praises your keen sight, and he signals to the bosun to bring Cloud Dancer around to the southern slopes of the Hammerdons, to a place where the pass emerges from the mountain range. Here you notice a pale cross of sun-bleached boulders laid out on the dark, dusty ground. It is a sign Ramoa has been hoping for, and excitedly he calls for the bosun to steer the skycraft towards it. Cloud Dancer is brought to hover directly above the cross. You leave the rail and accompany Ramoa into a boarding cage located at the stern, and together you are winched to the ground. As the cage touches down, you push open its iron gate and step out. Your pulse quickens when suddenly you see four shadowy figures emerging from the surrounding rocks. He's trying to trick us here. These are just the Rangers. It's trying to trick us into thinking there's bad guys already, but there's not. It's just the Rangers. Important to promote your brand like the Darklands did. Doomlands with the new Darklands. Instinctively, you reach for the hilt of your Kai weapon, but Ramoa stays your hand. "Hold, Grandmaster, these are not our enemies, they're our friends." Told you. The four gaunt, gray, grime-encrusted figures leave their hiding places and move slowly towards the cage. It is not until their leader smiles and reveals his white teeth that you realize they are human. The many weeks that these Senos Rangers have spent in the hell of the Doomlands have exacted upon them a heavy toll. There they are. That is a ridiculously narrow pass. Ha! When they said it was a narrow pass, they weren't even kidding. What? That's like a sliver. Here's the Rangers. They look pretty happy. Greetings, Lord Ramoa, says the leader. I'm Captain Gildas of the King's Ranger Regiment, and these are my men, Sergeant Pavies, Ranger Durasso, and Ranger Yalin. We're glad you've arrived before the enemy, though by no more than a few hours at best. Captain Gildas looks at you and bows his head reverently. We're honored by your presence, Sir Kai. I was lucky to be in Saroa last year when Carvus was crowned king, and I witnessed your knighthood in the palace square. We Sienese will be forever in your debt for ridding us of that usurper, Baron Sadanzo. You thank the ranger captain for his compliment, and tell him that you have come here with Lord Ramoa to help capture the Claw of Nar. It is vital that Senos be denied the Claw, you say earnestly, at all costs. Fear not, Sir Kai, he replies with confidence. We have laid a trap to ensnare the enemy in their foul relic. They'll not get out of Sunderer Pass. Come, we shall show you what we have prepared, but first you must conceal your skyship before the enemy arrive. Look over there, Lord Ramoa, says Gildas, pointing to a distant ravine. That gully is deceptively deep. It will swallow your ship without trace. You must hide it there. But first, may I ask a favor? Ramoa nods in reply. Our provisions are exhausted. We have some water, but we've had nothing to eat for days. Can you spare some food before you depart? I can spare some food. I got extra meals right here. He doesn't need my food, though. Of course, Captain, replies Ramoa. I'll have the bosun drop provisions this instant. Ramoa climbs into the boarding cage and is winched up to the rear deck of Cloud Dancer. Within minutes, the cage descends once more, laden with food and water. With a gleeful cry, Gildas throws open the cage door and he and his men leap upon the provisions like ravenous wolves. What little they fail to consume immediately, they stow away in their empty backpacks for later. As Cloud Dancer moves off to seek cover in the distant ravine, Captain Gildas leads you to the mouth of Sunderer Pass and shows you the preparations that he had his men have made. What? In readiness to ambush the enemy squad. Leave all weapons other than daggers behind? That would suck. If you have a blanket or tie, you must burn it ceremonially and dance around in the flames. Lose 20 endurance. That's some Joe Deaver shit right there. Above the narrowest section of the mountain pass, the Rangers have rigged a great wooden platform heaped with boulders and rocks. A length of rope has been tied to a prop which supports this platform, and it trails back to a hiding place overlooking the pass. "We'll pull on this rope," says Sergeant Pavies, flashing a wicked grin, "and the whole lot will come tumbling down on their heads." Captain Gildas tells you that the enemy squad is expected to traverse the pass before nightfall. He posts Ranger Durasso as lookout atop a high peak, and while you wait for the enemy to show, you pass the time in conversation with the captain. Slowly the sun sets beyond the western horizon, and a blanket of cloud rolls across the sky from the north, bringing with it a chill night wind. Then you hear Durasso whistling. It is the signal that the enemy have been sighted. Quickly, you look down into the pass below and notice a group of dark figures moving along the mountain track. But they're just pilgrims, and we just dumped a bunch of rocks on their heads. It's a wooden platform. Yeah, Lone Wolf would have been terrified by this. Terrified. That's his greatest fear. That's his greatest fear. Waiting for me to find a towel and pick it up, only to discover it's like one of those bomb crystals and it kills you. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't even surprise me at this point. Hey, I do have Grand Hunt Mastery. Yes, I love it when the very first thing that comes up is the one I just got. You magnify your vision and see that the approaching figures are Banarians. Armed with swords and spears, they are all clad in black quilted tunics, edged with gold braid and emblazoned with the tiger's head emblem of Autarch Senos. They are clearly a unit of Imperial Guards from the Autarch's court in Otavai. As the squad of 12 guardsmen draws nearer, your Kai's sixth sense tells you that something is wrong. These are elite soldiers of the Autarch's personal bodyguard, yet they seem to have forgotten basic military practice. They have placed no scouts at the head of their squad to check that the way ahead is clear. Here's some swords. I have Grand Hat Mastery and Sunlord. Yes. I'm about to fucking use my special vision already. You notice that one of them has a mark on his hand. It appears he's able to get into a club. You draw upon your improved discipline of Grand Hunt Mastery and focus your vision upon the advancing squad, but you cannot detect anything unusual there. It is not until you cast your eyes to the blanket of cloud above that you discover the cause of your disquiet. Hidden from plain sight, yet clear to your improved infravision, you see a host of flying creatures soaring overhead. The sight makes you swallow hard. They have lean and sinewy bodies that are studded with hundreds of spikes, and their slitted eyes emit a cold, bilious light. A host of flying creatures. Well, that's not good. You warn the rangers of their presence, and swiftly they take cover among the boulders, hiding themselves from above. Your swift action saves you from being detected by the winged beasts. But as the last of their number passes overhead, you witness something that makes your heart skip a beat. Turning to 296. Here we go. Mini cliffhanger. Are you ready? As the host of flying creatures emerges from the pass, the leading beast veers away to the east and draws its foul brethren towards the ravine where Cloud Dancer is hidden. They swarm above the steep gully and emit a hellish chorus of cackling shrieks as they prepare to attack the skyship. You cast a glance down into the pass and see that the squad of Imperial guards has now halted on the narrow mountain trail. You sense that they are waiting for their winged escorts to return before they dare to venture a step further. Boy, do I want to hurry back to Cloud Dancer and help Lord Ramoa? I think Ramoa's fine. He's got this. He's got this. If I leave Captain Gildas and the Rangers, they're just dead, probably. I think Ramoa's got this. Staying with Captain G. You watch with mounting fear as the horde of winged creatures circle and dive repeatedly into the ravine. They are met by intermittent flashes of magical energy which illuminate the gloom. Lord Ramoa and his young crewmen are putting up a spirited defense of their grounded skyship. Then you see an unexpected sight. Cloud Dancer rises out of the gully and ascends rapidly into the darkening sky. You magnify your vision and witness a bloody battle raging along her decks as the winged beasts attempt to wrest control of the helm. You watch helplessly as the beleaguered skyship powers away towards the east, pursued by the flying swarm of ravening beasts. And can't Lord Ramoa just blast some fools with his powerful magics? That skyship is weird looking. It's really weird looking. Looks like it was carved out of balsa wood by a Cub Scout. When the squad of Imperial guards catch sight of Cloud Dancer fleeing eastwards, their leader raises his hand and signals his men to advance. Using your enhanced vision, you focus on the leader and your Kai senses reel at the aura of evil surrounding him. You sense that this power does not emanate from him directly. It flows around a mace-like weapon which he carries sheathed in his belt. It is the Claw of Nar, and even at a distance, its malignant power fills you with unease and foreboding. With bated breath, you watch the Autarch's men come marching along the narrow trail. Captain Gildas gives the signal to Durasso to spring the ambush, and the ranger tugs hard on the rope in his hands. There is a moment of silence. Then a thunderous rumble reverberates through the mountains. A billowing cloud of thick dust engulfs the trail, and you lose sight of the squad as 1,000 tons of rock and rubble cascade towards them. 1,000 tons, that's a lot. Alright, we got billowing clouds. We got tons of rock cascading. Random number time, add 1 because I have Grand Hunt Mastery. Yeah, I do. Here we go. You ready? Boom, I got a 4! Oh, come on. A 4 plus 1 is still exactly 5 or lower. Ah, lame. The avalanche of rocks has blocked the mountain pass. 2 of the enemy warriors have been crushed by the deluge, and 3 others can be seen staggering away wounded. However, most of the squad appear to have survived the rockfall, and you cannot help but begrudgingly admire the swiftness of their reactions. You magnify your vision and scan their scattered ranks, but you are unable to locate the squad leader. I do not have a semblance. You call upon your Magnakai discipline of invisibility for protection, and then you command Captain Gildas and his rangers to wait while you go in search of the squad leader. You suspect that he may be one of the 2 warriors who have been killed by the rockfall. Mindful that the Claw of Nar was sheathed in his belt, you are determined to seize this opportunity to capture it before the dazed Banarians can recover their senses and regroup. You swiftly traverse the mound of rocks that now blocks the pass, and as you leap onto the trail beyond, you note that neither of the slain warriors is the leader. Then you notice a drainage channel which runs alongside the mountain trail, and your Kai sixth sense... No, it does not! And because you see that he's not there and there's no other fucking place he possibly could have gone, you deduce, because you're a human adult person that has basic deduction abilities, you deduce that he must have gone in there because there's nowhere else he could have gone. And somehow you credit that to your 6th sense. I like the idea that Fire Snake literally just is that dumb, where every time he figures something out naturally, like even if it's the most obvious thing, he thinks it was his 6th sense. Like he doesn't grasp the idea that he could have just observed something and made an observation. You know, like he always, like raindrops are starting to fall on his head and he's like, my 6th sense is telling me that it's raining. And he like literally believes it. Your Kai's 6th sense tells you that the leader has escaped the rockfall by rolling into this trench. Without a moment's hesitation, you unsheath your Kai weapon and jump into the trench after him. As your feet hit the bottom of this shallow gully, you see your adversary standing less than 2 yards away. For a moment, you stare at each other in shocked silence. No! Why would I be in shocked silence? I knew he was here! I jumped in here after him! Why would I be shocked that he's there? Come on! I shouldn't be shocked. He should be shocked. I should be like, I'm gonna jump in this trench and get this guy. Jumped in the trench, there's the guy. Nothing to be surprised about. I like the idea that Fire Snake, although he believes in his 6th sense always telling him, he doesn't always really believe it. So even when the 6th sense turns out to be right, he's shocked by it. He's like, ooh, 6th sense worked again. I didn't expect this. Yeah, 6th sense is like Coca-Cola of this world. For a moment, you stare at each other in shocked silence. Then the almond-eyed warrior tugs the mace-like claw of Nar from his belt and levels its taloned tip at your chest. There is a crackling hum of power, and a terrifying bolt of black fire leaps from the tip and comes streaking towards your body. Alright, I add 1 for Grand Hunt. Please no Blessing of Saito. Please no Blessing of Saito. Damn it! Blessing of Saito got me! Blessing of Saito got me again. Oh no. A 1? Come on. Come on. I get to add 1 to it. Now it's still 3 or lower though. This better not insta-kill me this early in the book. What?! As you hit the ground, you glimpse the black funnel of flame come rushing towards you. Then, in the blink of an eye, your vision is obliterated by a vivid scarlet flash. Instantly, you are plunged into a dark and fathomless void as the power of the claw leeches your life force. Tragically, your life and your mission end here in Sunderer Pass. Alright. Well, okay, that's it. I guess we're done. Book failed. That will end our Lone Wolf series, I suppose. Damn it. Alright. I can't believe I already got insta-killed off a fucking roll. All I had to roll was a 3 or higher. That's all I had to roll. That's all I had to roll. I had a 70% chance, and I failed. Let's roll again. That's 1 death. Four through 8. Alright. As you hit the ground, a black funnel of flame roars over your head and strikes you in the back of your legs. A searing pain runs the length of your spine and explodes in your head, making you scream with anguish. Lose 6 endurance points. Thanks, Joe. If you have survived this wounding, turn to 43. The squad leader advances along the trench with the Claw of Nar poised to fire a second blast. Yet a timely volley of arrows from the Rangers forces him to abandon his attack and dive for cover. When he scrambles to his feet, he commands his scattered squad to rally to his cry. They come running forward, and he scrambles out of the trench to meet them. Then an arrow skewers the sleeve of his tunic, and he spins around and looses off the second flame bolt in reply. It explodes among the rocks above, and you hear Sergeant Paviz cry out in pain. The crackling hum of the claw rises to an almost deafening pitch when the leader allows the supernatural weapon to recharge to maximum power. Turning towards the rocks that block the mountain pass, he points the claw at the base and lets loose a third blast of dark flame, which blows a big hole in the heaped debris. With a wild cheer, the Banarians race through the smoldering gap and make good their escape along the trail beyond. Yeah, that was a big old giant bunch of fail. Big old giant bunch of fail. Lone Wolf, that wouldn't have happened to Lone Wolf. God, Firesnake is useless. He's the worst Kai. You know, more like it doesn't matter how high your CS is, the book will still find a way to kill you. Even if you've got 70 combat skill, we'll still insta-kill you. Quickly you return to Captain Gildas and discover that Ranger Durasso has been killed, and Sergeant Paviz badly wounded by the claw's second blast of power. Well, we knew that was going to happen. You use your Kai healing skills to staunch the flow of blood from the sergeant's wounded arm, and then you scan the trail leading south from the pass for signs of the escaping enemy squad. In the failing light, you glimpse their black-clad forms hurrying away along the trail which heads towards the Banarian plain. Gildas and his rangers are too shaken to attempt an immediate pursuit, and so you allow them to rest and recover their strength. When you cast your eye towards the ravine where Cloud Dancer was hidden, before it was attacked by the flying horde, your sixth sense suddenly informs you that there is something waiting for you there. Yeah, but you're a cheater, Saito. You cheat. Sixth sense suddenly informs you there is something waiting for you there. My sixth sense, huh? Really? Is it my sixth sense again? You look over toward the ravine and you see a thing in the ravine. Your sixth sense tells you that that thing you see is there. Wait here, Captain, you say to Gildas. I must go to the ravine. I will return soon, I promise. And with these words, you leave the Rangers and make your way to the steep gully where Cloud Dancer lay concealed before it was attacked. As you approach the ravine, your Kai tracking skills direct you towards a small metallic tube that lies hidden among the boulders. Now it's my Kai tracking skills. There's a mistake in the text on that page. When you used healing on the Rangers, you didn't take endurance loss. I know, right? What's going on here? Hurriedly, you scoop up the tube, flip open its hinged lid, and shake a rolled piece of papyrus onto your palm. On this scrap of material is a hastily written message from Ramoa, telling you that the Claw of Nar must not be allowed to fall into the hands of Autarch Senos. He urges you to find and destroy it. Ah, he left us a note. Yeah, don't let him get the Claw of Nar. I already knew that. That was already my quest. I don't need to be told that. Of course, it's Fire Snake, so maybe he did need to be told that. If this should prove impossible, you must take it to the city of Pensai. There you should make contact with Lord Gadra, the Decian envoy, and he will see to its destruction. He will also help you to return home to Summerland. My Kai sixth sense is telling me I should take the claw to Pensai. Having memorized its contents, you tear the scrap of papyrus into small pieces and swallow them to ensure that Ramoa's message will never be discovered by the enemy. Then you return to the mountain pass to rejoin Captain Gildas and his men. You inform them that Lord Ramoa has been forced to flee in order to save Cloud Dancer and his crew from the attacking horde. On hearing this, they bow their heads in disappointment, fearing that they may never again see Ramoa or their homeland of Cian. Then you tell them about the message that Ramoa left behind, and despite their sadness, they each vow to help you capture the Claw of Nar. Suddenly, Ranger Yalan shouts a warning. The flying creatures are returning. Hurriedly, you take cover among the rocks and watch as they circle above the pass. Your Kai instincts tell you that these beasts cannot survive for long beyond the mountain borders of the Doomlands, and soon your suspicions are confirmed when you see them returning north to Naros. When the last of the creatures has disappeared, you beckon Gildas and his men to follow you down onto the mountain trail. Here you discover the bodies of 2 Imperial guards who were caught by the rockslide ambush and crushed to death. Yeah, of course I'm gonna search their pockets and backpacks. Cut the games. Fire Snake just loves eating paper. Yeah. Oh, it's a note. Yum. Nom, nom, nom. Your search of the guards' pockets and packs uncovers the following weapons, money, and backpack items. Alright, I've got a dagger, a sword, a spear, 50 ren, that's the equivalent of 5 gold crowns, a mirror, a rope, some food, and a comb. Let's take a look at the inventory here. Take all the food just in case. I don't really need it, but I can always throw meals away later. I'll take the mirror just in case. I'm full up now. 50 Ren. I might need to spend Ren. 1 crown equals 10 Ren. Oh, not 10 Ren. 50. Should take that comb. It could be the only way to defeat Senos is by dealing with his unsightly beard tangles. Now I'm going to leave it there just so that I can be not shocked at all when Joe Deaver for some reason makes a comb useful. You also discover a gleaming talisman that is engraved with the tiger's head emblem of Autarch Senos. It is strung upon a braided cord. Gold talisman. Excuse me, Gold Talisman of Senos. Yeah, taking that amulet will probably get me in trouble. Somebody will be like, look, he's wearing the Talisman of Senos, and then they just shoot me with arrows and I'm dead. You leave Sunderer Pass and follow the trail through the foothills to the edge of the Barnarian Plain. Shortly before midnight, you stop and make camp for the night. Sergeant Pavis volunteers to sit watch, and before you settle down to sleep alongside the others, you resolve to set off after the Imperial Guards at first light. And now I have to eat a meal, but I don't because I have Grand Hunt Mastery. You rise at daybreak and ready yourself for a long march south across the vast Banarian Plain. Using your Kai tracking skills, you have no difficulty following the trail that has been left by the Imperial Guards. Their footprints can clearly be seen upon the surface of a dusty track that cuts across the rolling grasslands. As you march along this derelict plains road, you are bathed by the warm rays of the rising sun. It is a beautiful day, yet you notice that your companions are in a sad and somber mood. They are mourning the loss of their comrade, Durasso, and they do not feel much like talking. 15 miles from the Damardun foothills, you come to a wooden bridge that crosses a stream of sparkling water. Here you lose your enemy's trail, for the track has been freshly churned by dozens of hoof prints. You magnify your vision and scan the far horizon, but all that you see are a few roving black Banarian stallions. You check the trail once more, and then your heart sinks when suddenly you realize that your enemy must have captured some of these fine wild horses. If they are now traveling on horseback, your only hope of catching them will rest on your ability to capture 4 wild stallions for yourselves. Oh, this is gonna go well. This is gonna go well. No, I don't have Animal Mastery. But I don't see why I should need it, because I have Animal Control. It's not like these are some exotic beasts that I'm trying to... They're just fucking horses. You tell the rangers what you have discovered, and suggest that they rest a while under the wooden bridge while you attempt to lure a distant group of stallions towards the stream. By the use of your Magna Chi discipline of animal control, you are able to entice 4 horses to approach the bridge. At first they are nervous, for they can detect the vile stench of the Doomland's dust which impregnates the rangers' tunics. But they are also thirsty, and they cannot resist for too long the temptation of the sparkling stream. You allow them to drink at the stream for several minutes, and as they settle, you slowly approach the leading stallion. You are reaching out to take hold of his mane when he suddenly rises up on his hind legs and flails at you with his hooves. Here we go. Another random roll. This is gonna go great. Grand Hunt Mastery. Get to add 2. Here we go. Hey, I rolled good this time. This one must not have been very important. Rolled 9 to turn to 99. And Joe Deaver rears his ugly head as you continue to take damage even when you roll a 9. You pull away from the stallion's scrabbling hooves just in time to avoid being struck on the head. But as you back off, you trip and fall and graze your shoulder on a rock at the water's edge. Lose 1 endurance point. They have Winnie Doe's 10? Oh god. Determinedly, you rise to your feet and draw upon your Magna Chi powers of animal control to subdue the frightened horse. Your efforts are quickly rewarded. The lead stallion walks towards you and nestles his head apologetically against your shoulder. When you sense that all of the horses are calm, you call to the rangers to come out from under the bridge and take a look at their fine new mounts. That easy, huh? Okay. Gildas and his men emerge from beneath the bridge and they each choose a stallion. They are all expert horsemen, and they are able to make bridles and saddlecloths from ropes and blankets that they have stored in their packs. Within the hour, all 4 of you are ready to leave the bridge and ride south in pursuit of the enemy. Don't need to eat a meal because I have Grand Hunt Mastery. Again. For most of the day, you ride across a seemingly endless expanse of grassland without once catching sight of the enemy you are pursuing. It is nearly dusk before your keen eyes detect a column of wood smoke on the horizon, rising vertically in the still evening air. You call the rangers to a halt and then magnify your vision to take a closer look at the source of the smoke. It rises from a small copse of trees, and you suspect that the enemy have set up a camp there for the night. The smoke tells you that they are cooking food. My Kai's sixth sense informs me that they're cooking food. Confident in the false belief that they have safely outdistanced you and your companions. You inform the others of what you have seen before continuing your ride along the Plains Road. When you are within a mile of the copse, you leave the trail and dismount. Sergeant Pavis and Ranger Yellen are told to stay and hold the horses, while you and the captain go forward to scout the enemy encampment. Together you crawl toward the copse, side by side, concealed by the approaching darkness and the waist-high grass. You are within 100 yards of the enemy campfire when Gildas makes a sharp intake of breath. You glance at him and your blood freezes when you see that his face is inches from a gray Khanda, a deadly Banarian plains snake. The serpent's neck is raised and its wedge-shaped head is drawn to strike at your companion's eyes. Oh, well, he's fucked. I do have the Eye of Laws! Oh, I've been carrying this thing around for so long, wanting to control some snakes with it, and I didn't think I'd ever get to use it. It says control snakes right there. Oh, I get to control some snakes because my name is Fire Snake. I was born in the year of the snake, so snakes have to do what I say. In real life, it doesn't always quite work out exactly that way. About to Eye of Laws this motherfucker. Yeah, exactly. Fire Snake's senses are rarely described as super keen. You command the snake to hold its attack. The Khanda hesitates, and Gildas reaches for his sword. With one swift and deadly swipe, his blade decapitates the serpent and sends its fanged head spinning through the air, trailing a stream of greenish-yellow venom. Trying to imagine how that works. He's laying on the ground, on his stomach. How the fuck does he decapitate anything with his sword? Think about it. Just lay down on the ground for a second and try to do anything with your arm that would approximate drawing a sword and killing a snake with it while still laying on your stomach. But then again, he is an expert ranger. Breathing a sigh of relief, Gildas wipes his blade on the grubby sleeve of his tunic before slipping it silently into his scabbard. It's a very tiny sword and a very tiny snake. I'm going to assume he, like, kind of rolled up into a semi-crouch position and did it. That's the only thing that makes sense. Cautiously, you continue your approach towards the enemy encampment. Upon reaching the edge of the copse, you catch sight of the Imperial Guards gathered around a campfire. They are eating the remnants of a roasted fongie. Oh, I do love me some fongie. And their horses are tethered by silken ropes to the bough of a chestnut tree some distance away from the crackling fire. A few of the warriors are already asleep, including their leader. You observe him carefully, and your Kai's sixth sense tells you that the Claw of Nar is wrapped in the blanket roll he is using as a pillow. Having committed the details of the encampment to memory, you signal to Captain Gildas to follow as silently you slip away and return to your waiting companions. Roasted fondue for their impromptu fondue party. They seem to be dipping the fondue in some kind of strange little pot of cheese. There they are. This guy's all wrapped up in a blankie. Look, he's all comf. Alright, fuck these guys. I shoot a fire arrow right at their fire and cause a huge explosion that kills all of them. Oh, this isn't Shadow of Mordor. Turn to 4. Upon your safe return, you tell Paviz and Yalan of what you observed at the copse. They're unaware we've caught up with them, says Captain Gildas, smiling slyly. Yes, and we must exploit our advantage to the full, you reply. You and your men must tie their horses and scatter them so that they cannot pursue us when I snatch the Claw of Nar, literally from beneath their leader's nose. The Rangers approve of your plan, and they are eager to put it into action. I think they're just eager to get away from the crazy singing guy. Gildas and his men mount up and skirt around the copse in a wide arc until they are in position on the far side within sight of the enemy's unguarded mounts. They take your horse in tow, for your plan is to rejoin them and make a speedy escape as soon as you have retrieved the claw. Meanwhile, you approach the copse and halt within sight of the campfire. Only one of the Imperial Guardsmen is still awake, and although he has been posted to stand watch, you see that he is having difficulty keeping his eyes open. The squad leader is tossing and turning in his sleep, as if he is having a bad dream, and as you inch closer to him, you fear that he could awaken at any moment. Oh good, look what I get to use now. Look what I have the option to use. Maybe this is one of those trap ones where if you have Kai Alchemy, it actually screws you. Yeah, right. Alright. Nope, I don't have Kai Alchemy, nor do I need it. Here we go. Carefully, you creep forward and stretch out your right hand to take hold of the blanket roll containing the claw. The leader is oblivious to your presence, but as your fingers close around his pillow, your stomach heaves and your pulse begins to race. Why am I doing it this way? Why am I not just cutting his throat first? That's what Lone Wolf would have done. He would have snuck in there and killed half of these people while they were asleep and then just butchered the other half. Why are we not just killing them? A bunch of them are asleep. We can literally have half of them dead at least before the others are even aware anything's going on. But no, let's make it difficult. You feel a tremendous concentration of evil radiating from the artifact, and its sudden assault upon your senses makes you gasp with shock. Alright. I don't have I don't have assimilant, so I don't get to add 2. Here we go. Here it goes again with another fucking you're about to take pipe roll. Alright, let's roll high this time. Oh, just barely. Because I have Grand Hunt Mastery, that's the only reason I made this one. The squad leader awakes with a start, because I didn't cut his throat like a smart person. But before he can react, you snatch the blanket roll from beneath his head and set off at a sprint. With your heart pounding wildly in your chest, you race towards the rangers on the far side of the copse. They have dispersed the Benarian's horses, and they are waiting anxiously for you to appear. As you rush through the trees, you hear the squad leader screaming at his men to wake up and give chase. What terrible thing is about to happen as a result of this random roll? Hey, a 7 or higher. I got a 7. Ha-ha! The blessing of Saito's wearing off. The Autarch's men react swiftly to their squad leader's call, but you increase your pace and flee the cops before they can prevent your escape. Gildas and his men are ready to take off the moment you reach them, and as you jump onto your mounts, you hear the anguished screams of the squad leader echoing across the plain. My precious! My precious! With a cry of triumph on your lips. Hell yeah! You dig into your heels. You dig into your heels? What does that even mean? You dig in your heels and gallop away from the cops as fast as your steed can carry you. Another random number. Damn, Joe. You're hitting us with a lot of randos. I got another good roll. For over 3 hours, you ride south across the rolling grasslands, guided on your way by your tracking skills and the light of a waxing moon. It is not until you see the outline of a derelict temple silhouetted on the crest of a ridge that you slow your pace and point your tired horse towards it. Upon reaching the ruined temple, you discover that it stands beside a well, brimful with fresh water. You let the horses drink their fill, and as they recover their strength, you and your companions explore the ruin. The temple is empty and overgrown. Its only feature of note is an altar stone engraved with ancient designs. It is illuminated by a solitary stream of moonlight that filters down through a hole in the shattered slate roof. While the horses are resting, you take the opportunity to examine the claw, and as you unfold its covering blanket on the altar, you find yourself both fascinated and repulsed by the intricacies of its evil design. The head of the claw resembles a petrified vulture's foot, cast in a black metal that is flecked with shimmering scarlet specks. Its shaft is twisted, like a length of gnarled root, and it is perforated along its length with pea-sized hollows. So it sounds... Oh, that's what it looks like, apparently. Wow. Well, I guess we can just thank our lucky stars that it's not a sex toy. A palpable aura of evil radiates from this dread artifact, and you feel an overwhelming compulsion to destroy it. You warn the rangers to stand clear, and then you unsheath your Kai weapon and deal the shaft of the claw a mighty blow. This is a good fucking idea. Good one. Good one, Fire Snake. It's not like you're wielding the Summer Sword. I would have done this shit with the Summer Sword. All I've got some normal Kai weapon that Lone Wolf made. This is like one of those situations. Was your weapon made by a god? No? Then you probably shouldn't try to destroy evil artifacts with it. I would love it. It would actually, well, it would actually amuse me if one of these two rolls destroys your Kai weapon. That would be fucking hilarious. I got a 2. The number picked is even. Oh, hell no. Okay, hold on. Let me just see what the other one does. Basically the same thing, just maybe not as bad. There is a blinding flash of scarlet light upon the instant that your blade strikes the shaft of the claw. Why didn't I get a choice about this? I didn't want to do this. And a searing wave of energy sends you crashing backwards to the ground. Lose 2 endurance points. Dazed and gasping for breath, you drag yourself to your feet and approach the altar stone, which is now wreathed with trails of gray smoke. To your dismay, you discover that the claw is still intact. What a fucking shock. Despite the huge burst of energy that your blow released, you discover no mark or blemish upon its gnarled shaft. What a fucking shock. The blade of your Kai weapon, however, is notched and discolored at the point where it struck the shaft of the claw. The damage to your Kai weapon has caused a permanent reduction of 2 points to its combat skill bonus. I should adjust the fucking bonus. You're tripping. You are tripping. Now this goes down to +3, +4 in daylight. Well, guess what? Frappe Soleil is no longer our primary weapon. Sunderer is. Which also has +5 CS. So now we're using Sunderer. Maybe I should have hit it with Sunderer instead of my Kai weapon. That's what I should have done. It's even called Sunderer. I hate you so much right now, Joe Deaver. That was some bullshit, Joe Deaver. You railroaded me into that shit. You didn't even give me a choice. You didn't even give me a choice. Alright. I'm using Sunderer, which will mean my thing is still the same. You are dismayed that your attempt to destroy the claw has failed. No, we knew it was gonna fail! That's why dude was like, take it to blah 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 place, wherever he said to take it. You know what Ramoa didn't say in his note? Try to destroy it yourself with your sword. He didn't say that. You know why he didn't say that? Because it's a dumb fucking idea. I'm not even surprised. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was like, do you want to use Kai Alchemy to destroy the claw? And you're like, yes. And it's like, turn to 350. Just turn to 350. Kai Alchemy destroys the claw, you win the book. Good job. Yet you refuse to abandon all hope of ridding your world of this evil artifact. You resolve to deliver it to the Elder Magi, for you know that it is within their power to obliterate this weapon of darkness. Captain Gildas consoles you, and from a pocket of his tunic he produces a small crimson gemstone which he cups in his palm, inviting your inspection. Without saying a word, he fixes this gem into one of the hollows in the shaft of the claw, and then he hands you a seemingly ordinary compass. Look at the compass needle, Sir Kai, he says, and he picks up the claw and begins to walk. As he circles around you, the point of the needle follows his every move. It's a Senos tracker gem, he says. The needle of the compass is tuned to its vibrations. It's just a precaution in case you should be parted from the claw before you deliver it to the Elder Magi. So long as the gem remains embedded in its shaft, you'll be able to track it using the compass. Gildas hands you the claw and you compliment him for his prudence. A very wise precaution, Captain. you say as you slip the compass into your tunic pocket. Somehow I feel sure that we have not yet seen the last of the Autarch squad. Senos compass. Copy. Special item. Claw of Nar. Special item. I forgot how many special items we're allowed to carry at this point in the books. I think it's 12. I think it's 12. Law of Nar. Now we're full on 12. In before, would you like to use your weapon to try to destroy the Claw of Nar again? You'd like to use a Claw of Nar to scratch your back. Fucking Claw of Nar. You sheathe your Kai weapon and follow Gildas as he returns outside to the horses. As you walk towards them, Ranger Yalan beckons you over to look at a strange shrub that is growing around the base of the wall. Here we go, Herb Mastery! Let me guess, it's gonna get me in trouble somehow. Herb Mastery, let's do this. You stoop to examine the curious tree-like shrub, and your Grandmaster Discipline enables you to recognize its red and yellow leaves. This is a clover tree, you say confidently. Its leaves contain a powerful healing agent that is stronger than Longspur. Yay, powerful healing agents. There are sufficient leaves on this small clorva tree for one dose. If you wish to pick and keep them, record the clorva on your action chart as a backpack item. When swallowed after sustaining an injury, Clorva will restore 6 endurance points. You know what? I'm just gonna eat it right the fuck now. I'm just gonna eat it. You laugh, but when you get to that point in the book, you're gonna be forced to fucking hit the thing with your weapon too. There was no choice to let you out of that shit. So I'm eating it, and I'm moving on. You mount your horse and lead the rangers away from the ruins, heading south. Soon you come upon a track, and you steer your horse onto it so that he can travel at a faster pace. Your Kai sixth sense and your pathmanship skills warn you that the Autarch squad have recovered their stallions and are now in hot pursuit. You follow the track into a shallow valley where a corridor of weather-worn pillars lines the trail. These man-sized pinnacles of rock are engraved with the likenesses of ancient Banarian rulers dating back to a time long before Autarch Sejanaz seized control of this land. As you pass between them, you notice that each one has been defaced by axe and hammer blows. Pillars of Eternity. Kai sixth sense should have warned me. Yeah, should have. Alright, I have elementalism in Grand Sentinel, so let's use it. You signal to the Rangers to halt and dismount. Then you request them to help move one of the pillars into the middle of the track. They look at you quizzically, but they do not question your command. When you have completed this task, you call upon your improved Kai mastery of elementalism to surround the pillar with a powerful electric charge. You sense that the Autarch squad are now little more than 5 miles distant, and it is your hope that this trap may delay them when they pass through the valley. Gildas questions your actions, and you explain them to him as you remount your horses and ride along the valley trail towards a distant ridge. Let's roll a random number, my very favorite thing to do. A 5, maybe it's not terrible. Motherfuckers. When you crest the ridge, you rein in your horse and stop to look back at the trap you have set. After several minutes, you see your enemy enter the valley and gallop along the trail. You magnify your vision in order to observe them as they approach the pillars, but as they pass by the obstruction, you detect no sudden release of power. The enemy have failed to trigger your trap, and now you have lost a precious advantage. Cursing your ill luck, you urge your stallion to the gallop and speed away from the ridge with your ranger companions following closely on your horse's heels. I hate you so much right now, Joe Deaver. Yeah, why didn't we just kill these guys? It's what is it, like 5 or 6 dudes? I mean, cut the games. Even if it's a dozen. I've got 3 rangers with me, plus myself. I mean... It's ridiculous. Ridiculous that we're not just killing these guys. It's ridiculous that we didn't kill a bunch of them while they were asleep. It's ridiculous that I tried to fucking break the evil magical artifact with my fucking sword like a derp. This book's ridiculous. As you gallop over the crest of the ridge, you see the first rays of dawn, sunlight brightening the eastern horizon. You continue to ride at a swift pace, for you are anxious to put as much distance as possible between yourselves and your pursuers. But as the sun illuminates the way ahead, you catch sight of a dense forest stretching across the southern horizon like a long, dark wall. "That's the Vauchow," calls out Gildas. "I've heard tell it's haunted." The trail continues due south towards the center of this forbidding timberland. And as you draw steadily closer, you feel an unnatural chill radiating from its tangle of sickly colored pines. You are inclined to disbelieve that it is haunted, yet you do not relish the thought of riding through it. Then a sudden sense of unease makes you glance over your shoulder, and your heart skips a beat when you see that the Imperial Guards are gaining fast. They are now less than 3 miles distant. Leave the trail and ride east along... Hey, was there a map in this book? I just realized. I don't think there was ever a map. Well, there must have been. We just never looked at it. There is a map. It's in black and white. They're starting to scamp at this point in the books, I guess. So where the hell are we? Like, literally, where the hell are we? Where was this pass? Sunderer Pass. We're here, right here by this Vanchow forest. We're coming south along here. Okay, so this is where we are. We can go through the forest, which is definitely haunted. Head back to the outpost, yeah. Or we can set off across the grasslands. I'd rather set off across the grasslands, personally. I mean, if we're being pursued and for some reason we're trying to get away from these guys rather than just killing them, why would we even stay on the trail? That's the obvious way we would go. Let's set off across the grasslands and then... I'm going grasslands, folks. The tall plains grass makes the going increasingly difficult. It binds around your horse's hooves and frustrates your attempts to hasten their pace. Okay, so this might not have been the best idea. For 5 miles, you force your mounts to wade through this sea of verdant vegetation until you catch sight of some stone ruins on the slope of a distant hill. It is the remnants of an ancient village, and it is bisected by a dried-up watercourse. You scan the site and notice dark pools of liquid scattered throughout the area. The pungent aroma of crude oil can be smelt, wafting on the breeze. Yokai's sixth sense tells you that the ruins are deserted. Is that what it tells me? Captain Gildas is anxious to press on, but you command him to pause for a moment. Your instincts are warning you of a hidden danger. Oh, we're definitely going to enter these ruins, though. Definitely. Definitely entering these ruins. Everything about that screams good idea to me. Yep, good idea coming up. Here we go. The tall grass gives way to shorter vegetation as you draw closer to the ruins. You are riding along the dried-up riverbed that divides this ancient site when suddenly you hear a sound like thundering hooves. The noise is coming from the north, and you command your companions to rein their mounts to a halt. To get a better view, you stand upon your horse's back and magnify your vision. A tingle of shock runs down the length of your spine when you catch sight of a group of strange creatures approaching the ruins at a terrific pace. They have black, bull-like bodies. Uh-oh, we're getting bovine up in here, Nox. Yet their heads are crocodilian in shape, and a spiky mane of hair runs the length of their muscular backs. They possess 4 legs and 2 forelimbs, tipped with claws, with which they cradle cumbersome lances crudely pared from the trunks of Van Chao pines. Oh, this seems like it's gonna go well. Okay. Crocodile-headed bulls. Crocobulls. Crocobulls. You inform Gildas of what is approaching the ruins, and he gasps with fear. "Zenon!" he exclaims. "Ishir, save us!" Why can I stand and fight these, but I can't stand and fight the Imperial Guard? Ugh. We're fighting. We can't get away from them. We can't get away. We're gonna fight. Gildas leads his men off the trail, and you follow as he enters the walled ruins of an ancient hall. Hurriedly, you dismount and corral your horses in a corner of this site before drawing your weapons in readiness to confront the approaching Zenon. The Rangers prepare their bows and take up positions along the north-facing wall. You choose a place close to Gildas and watch with mounting fear as the Zenon come charging out of this tall grassland. Come charging out of the tall grassland. As you watch their approach, your sixth sense detects that these fearsome creatures have been spawned by evil sorcery. And sixth sense is telling me a lot lately. Okay. I'll use a bow. I have penetrate now. Can I penetrate a motherfucker? Oh, I can! You draw an arrow to your bow and take a... Oh, this is my fire arrow thing I get to use. I'm pretty happy about getting to use fire arrow on the fucking oil. That's pretty awesome. You draw an arrow to your bow and take aim at one of the leading Zenon as it comes charging through a puddle of crude oil. Magi Magic, Grand Guardian, let's do this. Fire arrow! Before you release your bowstring, you recite the words of the Old Kingdom spell. Flame shaft! And a magical blue flame engulfs your arrow's tip. Then you send your fiery missile arcing towards a pool of oil on the ground in front of the charging Xenon. It plunges into the black puddle and ignites with a terrific whoomp. Whoomp, there it is. Whoomp, there it is. Whoomp, there it is. Whoomp, there it is. Okay, exploding a searing ball of flame and black smoke into the air. The heat of the fireball forces the Xenon to retreat, but as they pull back, you become aware of a new threat. Of course I do. That'll cost me 1 arrow. Boop. Some Xenon have ridden in a wide arc around the ruins and have come up behind your position. You hear their leader snorting gruffly as he leaps into the ruined hall, and quickly you spin around to face him. Shouldering your bow, you unsheath your Kai weapon, I unsheath Sunderer, and leap forward to block him before he can launch a surprise attack upon the backs of your 3 companions. The Xenon leader roars with excitement as he comes galloping across the floor of the ancient hall. His amber eyes gleam with murderous intent, for he has set his mind on skewering you upon the tip of his crude wooden lance. Oh, we're about to whoop this dude's ass. Alright, so here's how this is gonna go. First of all, I said first of all, hold on. How does my thing work? I've already forgotten. Alright, I'll use Mind Blast for 4. And we're in sunlight. Oh, but sunlight doesn't help if I'm using Sunderer. Never mind. Anyway, I'm Mind Blasting this dude. That'll take him down to a 42. Effectively. So I have a nice 11-point advantage on him. I could one-shot him. Create a blast of fire in dry grasslands. That's a good idea. Well, we're not in the grasslands. We're in the ruins. It's not grassy in the ruins. Alright. Here we go. Round 1. One shot. Here we go. That's not a one-shot, but I'll take it. 42-30, 41-14, 40. So I barely lost any, and the enemy is slain. Slain! Down to 277. Exactly. The grass doesn't grow into the ruins because there's stones and shit in the way. Duh. As the Xenon bellows its death cry and crumples to the ground, you see 6 of its kin come galloping along beside the west wall of the ruin. Fearful that these determined creatures could overwhelm your position if they chose to attack simultaneously, you command Gildas and the Rangers to abandon their positions and escape to the east. Together you leap onto your horses, and as the captain leads his men away at the gallop, you stay and fight a brave rearguard action to delay the battling Xenon. With ice-cool nerve and deadly grace, you wield your Kai weapon, actually Sunderer, to deadly effect. Your blows shatter Xenon's skulls or sunder them, and smash their lances or sunder them, forcing them to abandon any hope of following the Rangers as they make good their escape across the plain I sundered their hope. But when the time comes for you to follow your fleeing companions, a thrusting lance blow to the middle of your back nearly unhorses you. You hang on desperately to the mane of your frightened mount as he leaps over the wall and carries you away. You rejoin the rangers at the top of a grassy rise that overlooks the ancient ruins. The triumphant cries of the Xenon are carried to you on the wind, and when you magnify your vision, you see they have gathered in a group in the ruins of the hall. One of their number appears to be holding aloft a short staff. You focus upon it, and your heart sinks when you see that it is the Claw of Nar. Really? They got the Claw of Nar? This Claw of Nar is way too much trouble. It's more trouble than it were. I'm going home. I'm just going back to the monastery. Like, look, Lone Wolf, you can go get that shit yourself. I'll go to the War Council. What? Quickly you remove your pack, and to your dismay you discover that it has been torn open by the blow you received just prior to your escape from the ruins. In addition to the Claw of Nar, you have also lost 3 backpack items of my choice. That's fine, I'll lose some of these meals. That's what they're there for. They're there to pad out my backpack with losable items. Cursing your bad fortune, you see the Xanon leave the ruins and join with the Autarch's Imperial Guards, who have been observing your battle from the safety of a nearby ridge. You see a Xanon deliver the claw to the squad leader, and it galls you to see him raising it defiantly. With a whooping cry, the Banarians and their Xanon allies leave the ridge and ride south across the open grasslands. This is some bullshit. I got a 9.
Come, we must pursue the enemy without delay, says Gildas excitedly. They must not be allowed to steal away the claw.
Hold, Captain, you retort. The enemy is too strong. They outnumber us, and they possess a weapon that can slay us all. But with one bolt. Do you not recall what happened at Sunderer Pass? You have lost one good man already. Surely you have no wish to risk our lives in a reckless assault. I don't even know what's going on right now. Oh god, I've got a whole lot more fucking lines up ahead too. Damn it! This is more talking than Fire Snake is supposed to do at once.
Are you abandoning your mission, Sir Kai?
He asks reproachfully. No, Captain, you reply. My vow to retrieve the claw and oversee its destruction remains true. I merely propose we pursue the enemy at a safe distance. They may run with the claw of Nar, but they cannot keep it from us forever. The tracker gem that you place in the haft will lead us to it, no matter where they may choose to carry it.
You are right, Sir Kai,
says Gildas apologetically. Firstly, we shall rest and recover our strength, you say. Then we shall hunt down our enemies and reclaim that accursed artifact before it can be delivered to Autarch Senos. And I don't have to eat a meal because I have Grand Hound Mastery, so suck it. Okay. That was a tough one. Alright. Continue to turn to 201. I like to think that Fire Snake's Bard Mastery is literally just that good. That he actually, with his Bard Mastery, he still can only sing as well as I was just singing. And that's why when he uses Bard Mastery half the time it blows up in his face. Because I actually like to think that Bard's Mastery isn't even a real New Order discipline at all. None of the other Kai have it. It's not even real. It's just something that the Virus Snake made up and says he has. And they all just kind of like humor him because, you know, they know he's kind of crazy. Dusk soon approaches, and you resolve to return to the ancient ruins to set up a camp for the night. At first light, you begin a long ride south, guided by your Sienese compass. Judging by the steady course that you follow, you hazard a guess that the enemy are heading towards the city of Vuatzan. Astrology! What? Oh, astrology! It's been so long since I've used you. Yes, I'm going to astrologize some shit. Astrologize, that's a word. By the combined use of your map and your Grand Master discipline of astrology, you are able to determine that the ruins lie 75 miles due north of Vuatzan. Wazan. I'm going to pronounce it Wazan. If you can maintain a steady pace throughout the day, you feel confident that you can reach the city by nightfall. Bardsmanship is actually in the Somlending DSM. It's actually a disorder. The great god Kai came to me one night and taught me the ways of bardsmanship. Yeah, he did. Praise Kai. Yeah. Your journey south is favored by a cooling breeze, which sweeps down across the plain from the Hyunsei Mountains. Shortly before noon, you see a tented encampment in the far distance. Small crimson pennants flutter from its striped awnings, and groups of women and children can be seen walking along the banks of a nearby stream. Plains herder families, says Gildas. Their menfolk are out in the grasslands rounding up groups of wild stallion. They train the horses and sell them at auction in the Wazan. I'll visit the herder encampment, why not? Sounds like some serious lulls. Upon entering the tented encampment, you are greeted by dozens of laughing children. That's a lot of children. That's at least 24 children we're talking about here. At least 24. They run alongside your horses and feed them with small handfuls of hay. As you approach the largest tent, an old man in a sweat-stained robe emerges and bids you good day. He holds up a wizened hand to shield his pale eyes from the glare of the midday sun, and he asks if you and your companions wish to trade with him. Oh yeah, we're gonna trade. We're gonna trade. The old man invites you and your companions to enter his tent. You dismount, and the children look after your horses while you examine the wares and trinkets that are stored inside. Gildas nudges you and points to a rickety table that is heaped with simple straw-colored robes, much favored by Banarian plainsmen. "Maybe a wise purchase, Sir Kai," he mutters. "I fear our tunics may arouse suspicion the further south we venture." You nod in agreement and ask the old man how much he wants for 4 robes. 120 ren, kind sir, he replies cheerfully. The old man's price is the equivalent to 12 gold crowns. The rangers do not have any money, so if you wish to purchase these garments, you must pay the full price. I'll pay 12 crowns. I'm not even tripping. Not even tripping right now. Ask me if I'm tripping. Are you tripping? No. I know I have 50 ren right here, but I'm holding on to this 50 ren in case I run into something later on where it's like you have to pay in ren. That's the reason I'm carrying 8 loon around all this time as well. I pay it. You hand over the gold crowns, and the old man slips the coins into his pocket with a contented grin. Then you and your companions each take one of the loose-fitting robes and slip them on over your tunics. The thin, hooded garments are large enough to conceal your backpacks and weapons, and you are pleased to discover that they do not hamper your movement. Having concluded your business, you thank the old man, thanks, and bid him farewell. Then you leave his tent and collect your horses. The sun has nearly set by the time you reach Wazan. Even at this late hour, the roads that approach the city's four gates are busy with the traffic of traveling merchants. Some have come from the gold rush town of Bajo in the foothills of the Hyunsei Mountains, but most are arriving from Hotloy and Liulin, their wagons laden with exotic wares. As you approach the north gate, you consult your Sienese compass, and its steady needle confirms that the Claw of Nar is here somewhere in this grand walled city. You and your companions pass through the arched gateway without challenge, and follow a broad lantern-lit avenue towards the city's main square. Many open-fronted shops line this thoroughfare, their display tables laden with goods to entice its citizens to part with their hard-earned ren. Upon entering the main square, you notice that small crowds have gathered on each corner. They are reading proclamations which have been pasted upon the walls by the city's officials. Using your Magna Chi discipline of passmanship, you are able to translate the Barnarian script for the benefit of your companions. The posters declared that tomorrow shall be a holiday. This is to celebrate a visit to the city by Autarch Senos himself. He will arrive at noon tomorrow, and every citizen is expected to be present to honor their ruler when his entourage passes through the streets. Great. So they don't even have to take the claw anywhere else to get it to him. He's coming here tomorrow. That's convenient for us. That's really good. So that's what it looks like. Pretty interesting looking writing. Looks kind of like Canadian alphabet to me. You know, like in real life, what it would be, the closest equivalent would be Canadian, I'm pretty sure. Your Kai senses tell you that the Autarch is visiting the city for one simple reason. He is coming here to collect the Claw of Nar. Yeah, no shit. My Kai senses didn't tell me that! Again! No! I wish my Kai senses were an actual person, so that I could look over at that person constantly and be like, no shit! You don't say! We could make fun of him because he'd be Captain Obvious. The news of his imminent arrival reignites your resolve to find the artifact and swiftly. As you and your companions are riding across the main square, you scan the surrounding buildings in search of an inn where you may stable your horses for the night. The houses and hovels of Yazan are densely packed, and your search for the claw will best be conducted on foot. There are several inns bordering the square, but only two have stables. The Prairie Princess and the Golden Trough. Okay, here's the deal. Here's the deal. I just have a thing against patronizing any establishment with the word trough in its name. I don't want to pull myself up to a trough. I don't want to go to any kind of trough. Troughs are disgusting. So we're going to the Prairie Princess. Prairie Princess, here we go. You stable your horses and enter the tap room of the Prairie Princess. Man, Lone Wolf doesn't go to fucking places called the Prairie Princess. As the door creaks open, a gust of ale-soaked air and the jingle of bells interrupt the hubbub. The denizens of this tavern cast your party a suspicious glance or two, and then they return to their conversations. The innkeeper approaches, wending his way nimbly through the closely packed tables. He is a lean man with dark skin and a shaven head. You ask the cost of stabling and add that you shall not be requiring rooms for the night.
7 rin each, he says brusquely. You can pay tomorrow when you collect your nags.
You turn to leave the crowded tap room, but your way to the door is blocked by a stout, one-eyed man with a roughly trimmed beard.
You plains nomads, you got some nerve to come in here,
he spits.
You swindled me, near on stole all my herd of stallions. Well, I vowed I'd make you pay, and now I'm going to collect.
Look, Joe Deaver already fucked us over by putting on the clothes. By putting on the clothes of the fucking plains traders. We're already getting reamed for it. God damn it. With a flick of his hand, he signals to his cohorts to bar the tavern door. You tell the man that he is mistaken, that he is confusing you for somebody else, but he pays no heed to your explanation. Oh god, it comes down to Kai Alchemy or Bardsmanship. Which one of these two do you think is gonna fuck us over? Completely surprising. Completely hard to predict. Which one of these two is gonna be good? And which one of these is gonna fuck us over? Just guess. Yeah, if you guessed Bardsmanship is gonna fuck us over, you're right. And we're gonna use it anyway. We're gonna use Bardsmanship. I'd like it if you turn to 268, because it says if you choose not to use them. If you turn to 268 and it just says, are you sure you don't want to use Kai Alchemy? Alright, Bardsmanship. Let's do this! You draw upon your lyrical skills to dampen the man's anger with the soothing, hypnotic sound of your voice. Under the influence of your bardsmanship, he suddenly becomes calm and susceptible to your commands. You prompt him to tell his cohorts that he has made a grave error, that you were not the plainsman who swindled him after all, and meekly he complies with your suggestion. I just used the fucking Jedi mind trick. I just used the Kai mind trick on this guy. See, this right here is what I was expecting to do all the damn time with bardsmanship. And now I finally get to use it for this. Finally, after all these books. We are not the plainsmen you're looking for. Turn the fuck around and leave us alone. Be calm, motherfucker. Be calm, motherfucker. Be calm, 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 motherfucker. That's how bardsmanship works. Boom. His accomplices are embarrassed by their friend's mistake, and they offer to buy you and your companions some ale. Again, finally! How many books has it been? And we finally get to go into a tavern and use bardsmanship in that tavern and get some free drinks out of it. That's some shit we were supposed to be able to do with bardsmanship out the gate. And it took us like 6 books. 7. This is the 7th book of having bardsmanship. And we finally get to go into a tavern and use it and get some fucking ale. It's about damn time, Joe. About damn time. Alright. His accomplices... Oh, wait, we already... They bought us some ale. Politely, you decline their offer. What? 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 We do not decline their offer. No, we don't. And make your way quickly towards the door. I decline their offer. I pull out my fucking sword. I try to use it to destroy the Claw of Nar again. And then I shove it up my own ass. Alright. Water bottle rotation happening. It's a very complicated system. Politely decline their offer. I know, right? We finally get some free drinks out of being a bardsman shipper. Bard's Mastery. It's not even called Bard's Mastery, it's just called Bardsmanship. Okay. Alright, let's go. Let's just go. With your mind set upon the task of finding and retrieving the Claw of Nar before Autarch Senos arrives, you hurry out of the inn and stride across the main square. In the light of a street lantern, you consult your Senos compass once more before setting off in the direction that it indicates. It leads you towards the military quarter, located on the east side of the square. You follow a broad avenue, lined with closed shop doorways, and soon arrive at a busy barracks. The Senos compass and your Kai's sixth sense both tell you that the Claw of Nar is located somewhere inside this troop-infested building. Start kicking some ass. Look, these motherfuckers have to sleep, right? Can we have round 2 on this whole killing dudes while they asleep thing? I'm here to tell you, if you gotta kill somebody, the best time to do it is when they're asleep. Look, it's a double benefit. Benefit 1, you get to kill them easily because they can't fight back or defend themselves. You can do it quietly, that's benefit number 2. Benefit number 3 is it's more compassionate, because if they die in their sleep, then they don't have to suffer or be afraid or anything. They just, you know... Are we going to try to find a way to enter the barracks undetected? Or are we going to observe this building from the cover of an unlit doorway? Oh boy. Here we go. We're going to observe. We're going to observe. You observe the main entrance to the barracks building, and note a great deal of activity despite the lateness of the hour. Columns of Benarian spearmen, clad in black quilted uniforms with wide silk leggings, go marching through its main gate every few minutes with an almost clockwork regularity. You suspect that they are mustering in preparation for the arrival of the Autarch, although they appear too heavily armed to be gathering for ceremonial duties. You also catch sight of some Xenon, and you sense that these creatures were among those whom you fought at the ruins earlier today. Fuck those Xenon. During the time you spend observing the barracks, several wagons arrive laden with weapons and supplies. When 7 of these army transports converge upon the main gate at the same time, it creates chaos for the gate guards. As they try desperately to untangle the ensuing chaos, you see an opportunity to enter the barracks. Do I want to hide in the rear of an army wagon? Or slip through on foot? We're slipping through on foot. We walk from here. Little Indiana Jones for you. You see some Xenon that look exactly like the ones you fought before, but your Kai's sixth sense tell you that you fought before, right? That's some Kai's sixth sense shit right there. Alright, here we go, on foot. You tell the rangers to raise their hoods, then you lead them across the crowded street towards the barracks entrance. Random number, I do not have a semblance. Come on, 5 or higher, please. Let's go. Bam! I got a 7. That's what I'm talking about. It's because I said bam. That made it lucky. You thread your way through the crush of soldiers and enter the barracks unchallenged. The raised hoods of your robes keep your faces in shadow, and the guards fail to recognize that you are not native Benarians. Beyond the entrance is a courtyard where several wagons filled with provisions are being unloaded. You and your companions each take a box from the rear of the nearest wagon and join a line of men who are delivering their goods to a kitchen storeroom located in the middle of the barracks complex. You leave your boxes here and then return to the courtyard to collect some more. As you are making your way back, you pass a door that your Kai senses tell you is unlocked. Quickly, you slip inside and then signal to the Rangers to follow. When all of you are safely inside, you shut the door and draw its bolt. Alright, this is going well so far. Beyond the door, you discover a narrow passage that leads to a flight of stone steps. You check your Senos compass, and then you lead the Rangers up the stairs to a wider corridor on the floor above. You instruct Gildas and his men to wait at the top of the stairs while you make sure the way ahead is clear. Tall arched windows march past on either side as you approach a door at the end of the passageway. You detect the aroma of roasting meat. My Kai's sixth senses tell me somebody's cooking. And hear the sounds of feasting. And when you peep through the door's keyhole, you see a soldier's mess hall beyond. Carefully, you twist its spherical handle and push open the heavy oak door just a few inches. Peering around the door, you see a dozen Benarian soldiers sitting at a large table set before a blazing log fire. A side of beef. No! Hide your eyes, Noxmoo! Hide your eyes! Cover your ears! A side of beef is roasting on a spit above this fire, and the soldiers' plates are heaped high with meat and vegetables. Stands of antique armor are positioned around the walls of the hall, and its paneled ceiling is decorated with the portraits of some famous Benarian generals of old. Some of the soldiers dining here are Imperial guards from the squad that you encountered in Sunderer Pass. You scrutinize their faces, yet you cannot see their leader among them. Your Senos compass indicates that the Claw of Nar is nearby. Its needle is pointing to a door on the far side of the mess hall. You sense that the Claw is in the room beyond this door, and you resolve to find a way of reaching it without being seen. I don't sense that. Once again, I know that because the compass is pointing there. I have Grand Nexus. I have Elementalism. I do not have Assimilance. Cows can't ever cover their ears. Yeah, poor cows. You know, that reminds me, Noxmoo, that whole idea of reviving the beef buffet. In one of the D&D games at PAX with Acquisitions Incorporated, and if you guys don't know what those are, you should watch them, all of them. You should start by listening to the podcast and then watch all of the different games they've done, because they're fucking hilarious. Funniest D&D games of all time. Got to the Penny Arcade, guys. But one of them, the DM, he had him set up, he was at this place, and they had all these crates of hamburger meat. Like tons and tons of ground beef. Of these crates of it, you know, were in the room. And later on, like, the necromancer guy cast a spell and raised up the hamburger beef into these minotaurs, and they had to fight him. So it was pretty crazy. But you just reminded me of that with what you just said. Alright. Simulants. Don't have it. Do I want to Grand Nexify or do I want to Elementify? I'm going to Elementify because I just want to. You draw upon your mastery of elementalism to cause the fire to flare wildly. And that's why they call me Fire Snake! I got to control snakes and control fire in the same book. Finally, they're starting to catch on to my name. The sudden flash of flames scatters red-hot coals across the floor, and some ignite a leg of the dining table. Gripped by a sudden panic, the soldiers leap from their seats and attempt to put out the fire with cloaks and mugs of ale. Mugs of ale, good choice. In the confusion, none of them see you enter the mess hall. You take cover behind a stand of armor. Then you draw upon your Magnikai discipline of invisibility to help keep you hidden before you attempt to reach the far door. Random number, if you have a semblance, add 3. Grand Hunt Mastery, add 1. Okay, so all I have to do here... God, I shouldn't be saying this. This is gonna kill me. All I have to do is roll a 2 or higher. Here we go. Come on. Yes! I got another 7! I don't know that reanimating beef would keep it from going bad, though. It's still dead, rotting flesh. You're just giving it magical ability to move. You're animating it. But that doesn't make it alive. Alright, here we go. You reach the far door without being seen. Silently, you twist its copper handle and enter a small antechamber that is hung with tapestries. Beyond this small room is an archway through which you catch sight of part of a sumptuous bedchamber. You detect the sound of splashing water and the sweet aroma of perfumed bath oils. You can also detect the powerful aura of evil which radiates from the claw of Nar. Cautiously, you approach the archway and peer around its carved frame. Bathing in a large tub of soapy water set before a blazing log fire, you see the squad leader. You sense that the claw is somewhere close to him, but you cannot see it. Suddenly, you are startled by a loud knock on the door behind you. So we've got the bathing man illustration. It's a hell of a mustache he's got going on there. That is not a large bathtub. That is a very small bathtub. He barely fits in there. He can't even move. He can't even straighten his legs. He can't even... It would suck having to bathe in a tub that small. Okay, so that's the bath illustration. Do I want to lock the door or open the door? Lock. Lock it. Quickly you draw the bolt, and as you step away from the door, you hear the squad leader call out in response to the knock, "Enter!" The door shudders, and the handle turns as an attempt is made to enter the antechamber. No, I do not possess Kai alchemy. I don't know, the Drakarim aren't really ethnic. They're pretty much like Aryan Nazi types. The Drakarim were like the main enemy human group, or pseudo-human. We're sure they said the Drakarim have blonde hair, though. Or at least some of them did. Anyway, I don't have Kai alchemy, obviously, so... Place your mouth close to the door and use your Magna Kai disciplines of passmanship and divination to help you mimic the sound of the squad leader's voice. Go away, you say tersely. I have no wish to be disturbed. Ignore the fact that I literally just said come in a second ago. I was kidding when I said that. Pick a number from the random number table. Grand Passmanship, don't have it. Telenosis, don't have it. Got an 8 though, bam! Your bold ploy works. The soldier on the other side of the door obeys your command, believing you to be his squad leader. You allow yourself a silent chuckle as you turn away from the antechamber door. Then you unsheath Sunderer and enter the main chamber, determined now to confront the squad leader in his mouth. Fuck confront! Walk up, sink your axe into his fucking forehead, take the claw of Nar, and leave. No confront. We're not confronting shit. Murder. Immediately murder before he has a chance to react or do anything. That's what Lone Wolf would do. WWLWW. No, WWLWD. What would Lone Wolf do? The squad leader gasps with shock, and for some reason I'm also shocked. Because that's what happens. I just get shocked when I see things that I expect. When he sees you come walking into his chamber, he glances to a knotted rope that is hanging beside the blazing fireplace, but is just beyond reach. You detect that the rope is connected to an alarm bell, and you shake your head as a warning to him, not to try to make a grab for it. Where is the claw? You say, raising your Kai weapon, or Sunderer, to reinforce your demand. Fuck this! Fuck raising your weapon! Just kill him! The sallow-skinned man narrows his eyes until they become like slits in his face, racist, and he shakes his head slowly from side to side and refuses to answer your question. Suddenly, he reaches over the side of his bathtub and attempts to grab something that is lying on the floor, hidden from view. Do I want to throw it? Or rush up and hit him with it? Doesn't seem like it'd be that good for throwing. Let's rush forward and strike him. You rush toward the man with your Kai weapon poised to strike at his head. See, this is why you don't do the shit you did, Fire Snake. Don't walk in and ask a question. Throw the door open, charge over, and hit him in the forehead while he's still in the middle of his shock, before he has a chance to do anything. Like I tell you this, people, if you ever have cause in your life to commit a serious act of physical violence against someone else, if it's within your power, always do it when they're not expecting it, or when they're somehow surprised. Never let them know you're going to do it first, because then they can defend themselves, and everything is going to go horribly wrong if a person can defend themselves. It's much harder to hurt somebody when they can defend themselves than when they can't. I mean, that sounds obvious, but it's really true. You rush towards the man with your Kai weapon poised to strike at his head. But before you can land your blow, you find yourself staring into the muzzle of a bore pistol. The squad leader gives an evil grin as he squeezes the trigger. Fuck it, I've got 40 endurance. Just take the shot and kill him. Grand Hot Master Admiral. This right here is instant death. This right here is going to be instant death. I do deserve a show for children. Listen, kids. Being bullied? Don't let them bully you. If you do, they'll just keep doing it your whole life, and eventually one day you'll snap and you'll have to fucking hurt them very badly. But you can, or you won't, and you'll still keep getting bullied all the way until your adulthood. But you can nip that shit in the bud now, kids. Listen, whatever advice you get from your dad or your uncle, fuck that. They're gonna tell you, stand up for yourself, fight them, whatever. Don't fight them. Don't fight anybody. Wait until they're alone and not looking your direction, go up behind them, and start hitting them in the back of the head with a heavy object when they aren't looking at you. That'll fucking knock that bullying shit off quick. Don't even trip. Just saying, kids. Just saying, kids. Look, if you don't do this now, you're gonna get all crazy later in your life and you're gonna become a school shooter. You're gonna come to the school and shoot everybody with a gun. So, better than you coming to a school and shooting everybody with a gun is you just fucking cracking one dude's skull from behind right now while you're still a kid. Then you can go on with your life. And don't become a school shooter. You're welcome. I'm preventing school shootings with my sage advice. Alright, so... while smiling and wearing a sweater vest in front of a picture of the sun and some rainbows. Yes. Alright. He squeezes the trigger. Random number. If I get a 2 or lower, you know I'm gonna die. You know I'm gonna die right here. A 5. Okay, we're good. We're good. I'm gonna take some damage, but I'm gonna be okay. You dodged to the left, and immediately there was a flash and a deafening BANG! You feel the lead ball from the squad leader's pistol strike your right forearm with numbing force, but you sustain only a flesh wound, and you are able to keep a grip upon your Kai weapon, lose 2 endurance points. Bam, I got it, no problem. Leave a Burger King wrapper next to the unconscious body and say that he ran afoul of the local cow gang. I mean, ideally you don't want to knock the person out. If that happens, fine, it happens. You can always come and menace him later and let him know, you know, make sure he understands. But it's best if you can just make him completely helpless, and then you can just get on top of him and lean right down and whisper in his fucking ear when he's helpless and he's in all this pain and he knows he can't fight back and he knows you could literally kill him in that moment, and you let him know that next time, if he ever fucks with you again, you let him know that he's not going to see it coming and he's just going to die. And you just whisper it in his ear. Now that is how you stop a bully. Any other advice about stand up for yourself, fuck that. Punch him back. No, he'll kick your ass. Don't try to do all that. Wait, bide your time. Follow him when he goes home, whatever you got to do. Watch his movements. Figure out when you can get him alone. These are the things kids need to know in this world. Just saying. Okay, so, anyway, as he says this, there are a couple of puppies playing on the ground in front of him. I keep a grip on my Kai weapon. I lose 2 endurance points. Let's move on. Shall we move on? With surprising agility, the squad leader leaps from his bathtub and attacks you with the butt of his empty pistol. You know what would have avoided all this? Fucking killing him when he was still surprised. In the ensuing struggle, you deal him a deep and mortal wound to the chest. The force of your blow sends him tumbling backwards to collide with the tub. It tips over and a torrent of water cascades into the fire. His dying cries mingle with the loud hissing of steam as the bathwater extinguishes the fire and sizzles on the red-hot grate. You sheathe your blade and your Kai senses tell you that you are now very close to the Claw of Nar. You look at your Sienese compass once again, and you see that its needle is pointing to a painting which hangs above the fireplace. My Kai's sixth sense tells me it's behind the painting. Oh boy, it's a puzzle. Behind the portrait, you discover a safe embedded in a granite wall. There is a dial set near the middle of its iron door, and it is ringed with numerals ranging from 0 to 9. Your sixth sense reveals to you that by turning the dial consecutively to the correct 3 numbers, you will cause the lock to disengage and the door to the wall safe will open. Alright. 3 random numbers that relate to weird-ass things. First number in the sequence is equal to the levels of Kai rank. A Sun Prince is superior to a Grand Thane. Alright. Sun Prince. Grand Thane. 2. The answer is 2. Original total of Rangers in Gildas's command, including the captain himself. That was 4. 2, 4. Twice the number of islands in the northern Gulf of the Chai Sea. 2, 4. Chai Sea. Wait, how was it worded? Islands in the northern Gulf. I guess all 3 of these would be islands in the northern Gulf. So 6. 246. 246 is the answer. Let's go to 246. The third tumbler clicks into the correct position, and the door of the wall safe swings open to reveal the Claw of Nar. You take the accursed artifact and place it in your pack. Then you close the safe and rehang its covering portrait. You should restore the Claw of Nar as a special item on your action chart. I never took it off in the first place. I was that optimistic. Then I need to discard an item. Let's search the chamber for the funsies. Oh, look at all this stuff. A swift search of his chamber uncovers the following item. Barracks Lom Spur, sufficient for 3 doses. Just take all of those. 1, 2, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Food, bow, bar of soap, arrows. 100 Ren. 150 Ren. Okay, we're good. I took the Ren. I took an arrow. I took the Lomspur. And nobody need no bar of soap. Man, why can't there be a towel? There should be a towel here. It's a bath. There's soap. How is there not a towel? Come on, Joe. How is there not a towel? Alright. Yeah, close the safe back up. No one will get suspicious of the room with the dead guy in it. Exactly. Oh, I could get rid of him the same way I got rid of the note. I could just eat the dead guy, the entire guy. I could just eat him. And then nobody would know what happened. Alright, let's go return to the Rangers. Or the Rangers, if you prefer. You return to the antechamber, but while you are unbolting the door to the mess hall, you hear an alarm bell and the sound of gruff Benarian voices. You listen to their cries, and your heart sinks when you suddenly realize that your companions have been discovered. Also, possible that everybody heard that fucking loud-ass gunshot a second ago. You know, maybe. Why is he firing off his pistol in the bath? I don't know, I'm sure it's fine. And then all the banging sound of the tub getting knocked over and bodies falling everywhere. There was a towel, but the guy bled all over it. I'd still take it. Blood-encrusted towel is still fine. You inch open the door to witness a fight taking place on the far side of the mess hall. The Benarians have abandoned their feasting and are now attempting to storm the archway. 4 of their number lie dead or wounded on the ground, hit by ranger arrows. Your companions are putting up a brave fight, but they face the danger of being surrounded on both sides. Okay, hold on. They danger of what? Being surrounded. Surrounded, okay, surrounded. On both sides. Surrounded. On both sides. I don't think this is really necessary, because surrounded already means they're all around you. You don't need to say on both sides because they're already surrounded. If it wasn't on both sides, they wouldn't be surrounded. I just nitpick about little things like this. This is like saying ATM machine. No, the M is already machine. Pin number. No, the N is already number. You can't say pin number. You're saying personal identification number. It's like a Little Caesars commercial. Trapped in the corridor. Then a new threat to their survival arrives. 3 Benarian guards enter the hall, pushing a strange cannon-like contraption towards the distant archway. Fixed above its barrel is a large iron cylinder. It is studded with heavy rivets and fitted with a springed valve that bubbles and hisses like an angry serpent. You surmise this device is a steam-powered cannon, my Kai 6 senses tell me. And you fear that if it is fired along the corridor, it could slay your companions with one blast. As the Benarian gunners begin loading their weapon with handfuls of rusty nails and lead shot, you know you must find some way to stop them from firing this devilish device. Blow that shit up with a fire arrow. Fire arrow. How is ATM machine not redundant? Oh, if it's ass to mouth machine, is that a thing? People don't use the abbreviation ATM for ass to mouth though. They just say ass to mouth. All right, there's the giant cannon. They're dumping a bunch of bullshit in there. Fire arrow, blow it up. A bow, a magi magic, a kai alchemy, or an elementalism. Magi magic, go. You speak the words of the Old Kingdom's spell, Invisible Fist! And thrust your right arm stiffly towards the distant steam cannon. A wave of energy surges from your clenched fist and speeds across the mess hall to strike its iron cylinder with a resounding clang! Pick a random number. I have your rank above Kai Grand Sentinel. Nobody remembers the ranks. Cut the games. Kai Grand Sentinel. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. I get to add 4. As long as I don't roll a 0. Motherfuckers! Curse of Senos is back in full fucking effect. I just said as long as I don't roll a 0. As long as I don't roll a 0, I said. Why would I say that? Jinx myself. And then there's only one number. One number is all. Is the only way I could fail. And then I still rolled a 0. I rolled a 0. Your spell fails to split the iron skin of the cannon's pressure cylinder. Alerted now to your presence, a handful of Benarians leave the fight at the archway and come running towards the antechamber with their swords and axes raised to strike. You offer up a short prayer to Ashir to protect you as you draw your Kai weapon ready to meet their determined attack. With your grattle cry? Your grattle cry! Ah! With your battle cry upon your lips, you pull open the door and flail at the first Benarian who comes within striking distance of your deadly blade. What a perfectly accurate description of how Fire Snake fights. They never said that Lone Wolf flailed at anyone. I'm not even fighting with any kind of technique. I just open the door and just start flailing my arm with the weapon at them. I can't believe they used the word flail. I'm just flailing at them. Ah! Okay, wow. Wow. Mind Blast. Don't really need to, but I will anyway. Here we go. One shot, let's do this. Flail kill, 3840, 3726, 3610, 36 and 0. I'm going to save statistics. I'm going to drink 1 Lomspur right now. Take me down to 5. Put me back up to 40 right here. He doesn't even wield this weapon, he just flails at them. Yeah. I don't even know, man. I'm gonna start healing myself with curing. You leap over the bodies of your slain enemies and rush across the mess hall towards the archway. As you draw closer, you shout out to the rangers that you are coming through. They lower their bows and give a rousing cheer when they see you rushing through the archway and along the corridor towards them. Wait a minute, what happened to the big cannon thing? We're not worried about that anymore? Upon rejoining them, you have good and ill news to impart. I have retrieved the claw of Nar, yet I fear our troubles have only just begun. Oh, we must make a speedy escape. I sense the enemy are closing upon us from every side. Your instincts are correct. News of the fight in the mess hall is spreading like wildfire, and groups of armed Banarians are rushing towards this corridor from every quarter of the barracks. Your situation is beginning to look increasingly desperate until you suddenly see a way to escape from the corridor. A way that promises more than just a glimmer of hope. Getting a lot of mileage out of that sword picture, though. Yeah. Like, is there any way we could get this picture into the book, like, 8 times? That'd be great. I'm gonna try to destroy the claw again with my weapon, yeah. I'm going 42 piece. I'm going 42. Going 42. Through one of the tall windows that line this corridor, you see the flat, tarred roof of the barracks kitchens and the upper boughs of a line of trees that encircle the parade ground beyond. Shielding your face with your free arm, you strike the leaded glass repeatedly with your Kai weapon, and then command the rangers to follow as you leap through the shattered pane and jump down onto the tarred roof, just a few feet below the window's ledge. You are running across the roof towards a tree that stands near the kitchens, when you suddenly hear the loud pealing of an alarm bell, echoing from a tower on the northern side of the barracks. Random number time. Whatever I roll will be the worst possible thing. A 6. Above the clanging of the alarm bell, you hear a gruff command to halt. You glance over your shoulder and see a Banarian guard framed in the jagged window through which you have made your escape from the mess hall corridor. He is armed with a bore musket, and when you and your companions ignore his order to stop, he raises his cumbersome weapon to his shoulder and discharges a shot at your fleeing backs. We're getting shot a lot. That 0 right there is an instant death. As long as I don't roll a 0, guys. I'm gonna go up to 43 right here. Down to 7 curing points. As long as I don't roll a 0, guys. It can't happen twice in a row. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm counting on. It can't happen twice in a row. Okay, it didn't. Wow. 5 or higher. Ah! Missed me, sucker. Or not. Captain Gildas lets out a shrill cry of pain as the musket ball strikes his right thigh. He clutches at the wound and you see blood oozing through his fingers. Fortunately, the lead ball has passed cleanly through his limb without striking bone, and you are able to staunch the flow of blood and seal his punctured skin by the use of your Kai healing skills alone. The hurried use of your healing skills cost you an endurance point. How come I can never... I'm gonna heal myself for 1 and take this one. How come I literally never get to use my super awesome healing of having deliverance plus being super high rank? That it was like, you can heal the shit out of somebody. Last book, I never get to use that. It's always like you default to your shitty old healing and it hurts you or whatever. Why? Joe Deaver, that's why. I'm gonna go one more. One more right here. That's half my curing points used. And save the rest. Before the guard can reload his musket and fire again, you reach the end of the roof and climb down the trunk of the tree. Gildas and his men follow your lead, and when all of you are safely on the ground, you pause for a few moments to assess the situation. If you have to, I can once per book, I can, in combat, if my endurance gets to 8 or lower, I can heal myself for 20, yeah. Gildas and his men follow your lead, and when all of you are safely on the ground, you pause for a few moments to assess the situation. From beneath the leafy boughs of the young oak, you look out across the parade ground and scan the buildings that border upon it. Banarian soldiers are running everywhere, seemingly in confusion. Then you realize that they all have a purpose. They are rushing to secure every entrance and exit from the barracks. Gildas points to a building on the west side of the parade ground. Its doors are open and unguarded. You magnify your vision and see that it is part of the barracks stables. Its well-lit interior is busy with troopers who are preparing their mounts for tomorrow's ceremonial parade through the city. Beyond its rows of stalls is an archway that opens onto one of the city's streets. You inform the rangers of what you have seen, and you decide that the stables offer you your best hope for an escape from the barracks. Using the perimeter trees for cover, you skirt around the parade ground and make your approach to the stables. You are less than 6 yards from its open doors when you are suddenly called upon to halt. Halt, 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 halt. That's like what the guards sounded like in Daggerfall, when you would go into people's homes and murder them or steal their stuff at night in the city, and then, you know, as you do, and then the guards would shitloads of guards would appear and they would chase after you and they'd all be saying halt, but their voices would just overlap on each other and it would just be like halt, 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 halt. I remember it well. Three Banarian guards come weaving through the line of trees towards you, their spears held at the ready.
Stay where you are,
barks the tallest of these soldiers.
And all of you, raise your hands!
Herb Mastery and Sunlord? What? How am I gonna Herb Mastery my way out of this situation? That doesn't even make sense. But I'm gonna do it. Oh, I just got to use my Entangle power. You use your improved Grand Mastery to cause the overhanging boughs of the trees to lash out at the Banarian guards. Startled by this unexpected attack, they drop their spears and raise their hands to protect their faces. The rangers seize this chance to attack and overpower them, leafing the guards lying unconscious beneath the leafy trees. Wow, I just actually used Herb Mastery to do something useful. That's amazing. I like how it told me right in the ability description, can only use this on one target. And I just used it on 3 people like I gave no fucks. You hurry away from the trees and enter the busy stables. Dozens of troopers are grooming their mounts in stalls which are set facing each other. They form a long corridor that runs all the way to a pair of open green doors at the far end of the building. Through this open doorway, you glimpse the enticing sight of a city street, and you and your companions have to struggle to overcome an almost overwhelming urge to run headlong towards it. Most of the horses that are standing in the stalls are saddled up in preparation for tomorrow's ceremony. The troopers are part of the mounted guard detailed to escort the autarch through the city. You whisper to the others to look for some unattended horses, but as you approach the stalls, you are challenged by a suspicious trooper. Roughly, you barge him aside and fucking jab your knife up under his ribs into his fucking heart so that he falls dead and you don't have to worry about him fucking with you after that. And you continue to no, let's just piss a guy off and leave him to fuck with us. Sounds good. Man, Firesnake won't kill anybody. Lone Wolf already would have snuck up, aced some motherfuckers while they weren't looking, and taken some horses, and he would have been gone. Okay. You barge him aside and leap into the saddle of a chestnut mare. The rangers are all close behind you when you dig in your heels and urge your mount to gallop along the central corridor that leads to the exit. The troopers wave their fists as you speed past them. I just imagine them going, well, you can't see me right now, but I'm waving my hands back and forth above my head in a certain way that you've probably seen somebody do before. I just imagine the troopers waving their fists like that. Throw your hands in the air and wave them if you just don't care. That's what these guys are doing. That's pretty funny. They wave their fists as you speed past them, and hurriedly 2 of them attempt to shut the green doors before you can make good your escape into the street. Also, no vampires so far in this book. No shit, right, Seto? Lumberwolf would probably also have set fire to the city just for shits and giggles. No Kai Alchemy. I have Magi Magic or Elementalism. Well, Magi Magic kind of fucking failed me last time, so let's use Elementalism. As you gallop through the stables, you draw upon your Kai Mastery of Elementalism to stir up the straw that litters the floor. What a lame thing to do with Elementalism. Oh, I stir up the straw! Light some shit on fire, man. Stir up the straw that litters the floor around the exit. The troopers who are attempting to bar your escape are blinded by this sudden whirlwind of debris. They are forced to abandon their attempt to close the doors, and you are able to make good a speedy escape into the street beyond. As you gallop through the open doorway, you steer your horse to the right, and then race away along a dark, cobblestoned street. I could have just set fire to the city, but no. That's going to be some great thing to explain to their boss.
Why did you let them get away?
He stirred up the straw. It went up into the air. We couldn't see.
You're fired.
The street is filled with parked wagons, anxious troops, and irate delivery drivers who have been barred entrance to the barracks. An alarm bell continues to toll as you wend your way through the crowds, and your sixth sense tells you that the claw has now been discovered missing. Okay. Whatever. Kai Alchemy wishes it had Invisible Fist. You turn a corner and ride along an unobstructed avenue that takes you to a far quieter quarter of the city. Guided by your patsmanship and tracking skills, you lead the rangers to the south gate of the Wazan. Here you are able to depart the city along a road that passes through outlying settlements before climbing gently into the Hona Hills. Random number time. It's the best. How about a 7? How does a 7 work for you? Shortly before midnight, you approach a toll bridge that traverses a deep gorge. The entrance to this bridge is blocked by a single pole barrier, and on either side of the obstruction are painted wooden shacks adorned with flickering lanterns. The soldiers who guard this bridge are asleep inside the shacks, and they fail to hear you approaching. You decide to jump your horse over the barrier, and you call to Gildas and the others to follow your lead. Now we can be pursued by more dudes. Couldn't we kill these sleeping guys, please? Please? We have bows. Sleeping guys, just one arrow each right in the heart as they sleep. Call it a day. No one asked for Kai Alchemy on their lobster either. Random number. If you have animal control, add 2, but I don't have animal control. I got an 8! Your horse sails across the barrier, and the rangers jump their mounts over it with consummate ease. Then you gallop across the bridge and follow the road as it wends its way up into the hills beyond. You are a few leagues to the south of the toll bridge when you pass a signpost that reads, Benaz, 70 miles. Hold on, looking at the map. There's Wazan. Where the fuck is Benaz? Oh, it's this way. We're continuing. Remember, they said we need to get to Pensai. So we're heading toward Pensai, I guess. Beyond this point, the hill road begins to twist like a swimming serpent. You are passing around one of its seemingly endless bends when you hear a loud rumble of thunder echoing through the hills. I don't have grand passmanship, so let's move forward. You have traveled less than a mile when it begins to rain. At first, it is just a few drops that spot the shoulders of your robe, but within minutes it has become a deluge that soaks you through to the skin. The land bordering this road is steep and impossible to climb on horseback, and through the sheeting rain you can see little of the way ahead. The thunder grows steadily louder. When this rumbling becomes almost deafening, you suddenly realize that it is not thunder at all. It is the terrifying sound of a mudslide. Frantically, you signal to the rangers to turn back. As the torrent of earth and water comes crashing down the hillsides, you urge your horses to a blind gallop in a desperate attempt to outrun this merciless river of mud. Merciless river of mud. Nary a lacquered tiger man with wolverine claws. Yeah, well... Exactly. We're not... It's like... There's no... Look, here's... It's got the rangers with bows, though. Look. It's got the rangers with bows. Random number, animal mastery. Add 1 for 20 or higher. 2 or lower will be an instant death. Oh, good! Another 0! Wonderful! Your reactions have been dulled by the fatigue of your long journey. You fall behind the rangers and get caught by the full force of the mudslide as it comes thundering along the hill road. You lose consciousness the moment you are swept from your horse, and you are spared the pain of drowning in this merciless river of mud. Tragically, your life and your mission end here in the Hana Hills. Well, so much for that. I hate the blessing of Saito. It's the worst thing. Another death. This is not going well for us. This time we got an 8. Only the swiftness of your reaction saves you and your companions from a watery death. You race back along the hill road, through the blinding rain, with a surging torrent. Okay, that's the 3rd time you've used torrent in the last, 20 minutes, Joe. That's becoming the new put paid. A surging torrent of mud and debris chasing you all the way. Trees are uprooted and loose boulders are sent hurtling into the air by the destructive force of this merciless flow. You succeed in outrunning the mudslide, but at some cost. Your horses are so drained by the ordeal that 2 of them die of exhaustion, and a 3rd becomes too lame to continue. You are forced to abandon them, continue your journey on foot. You head east and take shelter on a wooded hillside while you wait for the rains to abate. Have to eat a meal, but I don't have to because I have Grand Hunt Mastery. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't lose 1 endurance anyway, because fuck me, yeah. You manage to sleep for a few hours while the rains continue unabated. Gildas wakes you shortly after dawn, and you are relieved to discover that the rain has stopped. You set off across the hills, and during your trek you discard your plains herder robes, for they offer you little protection. Hey, I paid a lot of money for those. At noon, you halt to prepare a meal of roots and wild vegetables. While you are eating, you resolve to attempt to cross the river Heng and enter the friendly realm of Chai. You will then make your way to the city of Pensai and try to contact the Decian envoy, Lord Gadra. Despite difficult terrain, you make very good progress. You leave the Hana Hills and enter the dark pines of the Ang Feng Forest, covering 30 miles by sunset. As darkness casts its black shroud upon this untamed land, you stop to set up camp for the night on the fringe of a cold marsh. The night sky is clear. Before you settle down to sleep, you take time to observe the stars. You know, I've gotten to use astrology, bardsmanship, and herb mastery quite a bit in this book, actually. Astrology. Aided by your Kai mastery, you study the night sky and try to predict the future from the relative position of the planets, moons, and stars. But your observations unsettle you and fill you with a sense of foreboding. You learn from the night sky that your flight to Chai will be fraught with many dangers and disappointments. That is not useful. You resolve not to tell your companions that you have foreseen what you have foreseen for fear of lowering their morale. Later, when you are asleep, the predictions return to haunt your dreams. Wait a second. Wait a damn second. Motherfucker! I hate you so much, Dodever. This is what I expected. If you don't have astrology, everything's great and you're well-rested and you get healed. But if you do have it, ha-ha, sucker, no healing for you. He did this to me again. He always turns bardsmanship, herb mastery, astrology. If you have these, he just constantly uses them to fuck you. Oh, that's weak sauce. Oh! Oh! I didn't just not get the heal from the sleeping badly. I didn't just not get the 3-point heal. I take damage. I take damage because I looked at the stars and understood the future with astrology. Fuck astrology. Astrology, fuck bardsmanship, fuck herb mastery, fuck you, Joe Deaver, fuck you. I took damage from that shit. This is not magical, Saito, it's not. You sleep poorly and wake feeling drained and disheartened. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty disheartened. There's 2 endurance points. Shortly after dawn, you break camp and set off across the marshlands, heading east. At first, the spongy ground comes as a welcome relief after the jagged rocks and twisted roots that litter the floor of the Angfeng forest. Then the marshy soil degenerates into a treacherous swamp, and soon you are forced to head south in search of firmer terrain. For 2 days and nights, you trek across wetlands, living as best you can off the flora and fauna of this inhospitable region. By noon of the 3rd day, you catch sight of a stone bridge across the river Hang, on the outskirts of a town called Zuda. The rangers are excited at the prospect of escaping at last from the mosquito-infested wetlands, but their enthusiasm is dampened when you magnify your vision. When you magnify your vision and take a closer look at this chai border town. Man, I love chai tea. I like these people's tea. Oh, that was weak. That was fucking weak right there. You observe that the bridge at Zuda is occupied by Banarian soldiers. Their tented encampments are dotted around the approach road and riverbank, and the line of their supply wagons stretches away to the west. The Tiger's Head flag of Autarch Senos now flies over Zuda. This border town has been overrun by his army within the last 24 hours. At first, you suspect that this could be the start of a war between Benar and Chai, but your Kai senses tell you that this is no ordinary military operation. This army has come here for one purpose, to ensure the recovery of the Claw of Nar. That's the flag. You hold somber council with the Rangers and try to determine how best to proceed from here. I propose we try to reach the Chai Wall, says Gildas, and his men readily agree. Having never heard of this edifice, you ask Gildas to explain. The Chai Wall is a line of forts and military defenses that lies 60 miles to the east of Zuda, he says. Invasion from Banar has long been a threat to Chai, but its ancient ruler, Kea Khan Zo, had remarkable foresight. He constructed a formidable wall to deter Autarch Sejanaz from invading his peaceful realm. It has served Chai well for many centuries. Alright, so Chai is kind of like China. Of course they have a fucking Great Wall of China. Yeah, of course they do. You thank Gildas for this history lesson, but you question its accuracy. I was taught at the Kai Monastery that the reign of Kea Khanzo was more than 1,000 years ago. Surely his enemy then was not the same Autarch Sejanaz who rules Banner now. Ah, but he is, replies Gildas. Sejanaz has ruled this land for 3,000 years. Legend says that he entered into a pact with Agarash the Damned. In return for his soul, he received immortality. As you look upon the flag of Autarch Sejanaz fluttering high above the buildings of Zuda, a growing sense of foreboding creeps upon you and it leaves a chill in your blood. Apparently he's 3,000 years old, yeah. You decide to wait until nightfall before making your attempt to cross the River Hang. During the day, you scout the riverbank and you determine that there are only 2 ways to cross. Both are hazardous. You can swim across the river, but the current is fast and treacherous. Or you can attempt to cross at the bridge. The road is blocked by soldiers, making a crossing by that way impossible. But you can attempt a crossing below the bridge. Its supporting stone pillars are closely spaced and they slow the river's flow. However, the enemy guarding this bridge is especially vigilant. They are expecting and watching for your approach. Now, both of these are terrible. Both of these are terrible. They mentioned earlier that he was a vampire. In the, beginning of the game. They did mention that. They didn't mention the 3,000 years business. But they did say something about him being a vampire. Early in the book. Might not have been in the, I don't remember when they said it. But they did. Just in passing, though. It wasn't, gone into. It was just in passing. It says something like, blah, 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 the vampire Sejanaz, and that was it. Alright, I hate both of these options so much. We're gonna try to swim across the river. This is not gonna go well. Shortly after dark, you and your companions make your approach to the riverbank a mile upstream from the stone bridge. The rangers have tied their ropes together to provide a length that will reach to the opposite bank. The plan is for you to swim across and secure the rope on the far side. The rangers will then follow you across, using the rope to prevent themselves from being swept away by the strong current. You tie the rope about your waist and wade into the cold, dark river. Then you strike out for the opposite bank, swimming diagonally upstream to counter its swift flow. You are halfway across when your rope snags on something below the surface. Furiously you tug at it, but to no avail. Then you see a glistening mound begin to rise up from the water. 2 slits open, revealing the pupils of 2 monstrous eyes. Then a wider slit disappears or appears below them, filled with jagged fangs. Your rope disappears into the corner of this ghastly maw, and as the mouth opens and closes, so you are pulled ever closer to these deadly fangs. This is lame. This sucks. Alright, no, I don't have animal mastery. The creature sinks beneath the surface. Then you see a trail of bubbles come speeding towards you. Fearing an imminent attack, you tug your Kai weapon from its scabbard and stab blindly about you. Suddenly, the water surrounding you seethes and boils. You feel your blade cut through the creature's jelly-like flesh, and in the next instant it erupts through the surface and launches itself upon you. So there it is, big scary death fish. Not looking like a friendly thing. Yeah, I'm not happy about this. A Sligza! That's shit, some straight up Sligza. Sliggins. He's all sliggany. Alright, that's a high combat skill. Immune to Mind Blast, but not Kai Surge. Charm. Alright. We're gonna use Kai Surge. We're gonna use it. Boom, Kai Surge. 4220. 20 is all its endurance, really? Down to 10, it's dead, and I'm down to 38. That wasn't so bad. No, this isn't like an Aboleth Cyto. Aboleth is like... It has tentacles, and it's really intelligent, and it uses psychic attacks and controls people with its mind. They're like mastermind type things that control all kinds of minions, and they're all tentacle beasts, basically, like Cthulhu shit. They don't have fanged maws, or... They're not really fish-like. Well, they might be kind of fish-like, but they're more tentacly. Parasnake, so that must have been what it meant last night when Neptune was in the 11th house. Yeah. Oh, man. I'm gonna heal myself with some curing, I think. You quickly recover from the shock of your watery encounter, and you strike out with renewed vigor for the opposite bank. Upon reaching the far side, you tie the rope around a sturdy tree trunk and signal to the rangers to begin crossing. All three cross the river safely, and together you approach Zuda under cover of darkness. The road into the town is heavily patrolled by Banarian soldiers. When you nearly collide with one of these patrols, you are forced to seek cover in an empty woodcutter's hut. Trolls everywhere. Let's go up to 40 here. Your tracking skills tell you that this hut was abandoned by its owner earlier this morning. Its log stove is still warm, and a plate of food lies untouched on the table. You share out the food and dry your clothes by the stove. Sergeant Paviz keeps watch at the window in case a patrol should come by to search the hut. As midnight approaches, the enemy activity in Zuda decreases. Gildas suggests you should leave during the night to minimize risk of discovery. The darkness provides invaluable cover. You agree, and after midnight you set out for the town. Banarian soldiers are billeted in most of the shops and houses. You keep to the back streets to avoid the patrols, but every alley and avenue leads to the market square at the center of the town, and you cannot avoid passing through this area. In the middle of the square, a magnificent tent has been erected. High above flies a scarlet flag emblazoned with a gold tiger's head. This is Sechenaz's personal flag, and it signifies that the Autarch is here in person. A dozen of his best soldiers guard his tent, and parked beside its entrance are two strange machines. The first is an elaborate shrine. It is fashioned from gold and jewels, and has been crafted into the likeness of a tiger's head. Two huge ivory fangs protrude from its jaw, and its jeweled eyes glow with a flickering scarlet fire. The second is a golden chariot. This vehicle has no team of horses to pull it, for it needs no animals to cause it to move. So it's a car, is what it is. It is a sky chariot, so it's a flying car, powered by the same magical forces that enable Cloud Dancer to soar through the air. I wonder if that's what that thing on the cover is. Right there behind him. You see that thing right there? I think that's probably his flying sky chariot. I think we're going to be in a building. This is going to be a window. He's going to fly up here in his sky chariot and he's going to bust through here. That's what I think is going to happen. You are observing the shrine from the cover of a doorway, when suddenly the head slowly rotates in your direction, and two pencil-thin beams of red light shoot from its eyes. You duck back, but it is too late. The shrine has detected your presence. The guards at the tent raise the alarm, and a troop of Banarians come running from the doorway of a nearby hall. "Run! Run!" cries Gildas as the soldiers come rushing towards you. Yeah, that flag has gotten a lot of use. Uh-oh. That's not good. The soldiers chase you through the back streets of Zuda. Hold on, wait. 41. Boop. The soldiers chase you through the back streets of Zuda until you are cornered in the courtyard of a tall, crimson-colored tower. Desperately, you scan the walls of the courtyard, but there is no way out, except by way of the narrow passageway that led you here. Marching along this passage comes a squad of the Autarch's Imperial Guard. They are carrying what appear to be hollow, stubby spears, connected by metallic piping to cylindrical backpacks. Yeah, we've seen these before. These steam guns. One of the advancing soldiers raises his spear, and a puff of bubbling steam gushes from the tip. In the next instant, a solid projectile smashes into the wall behind you, spraying you with slivers of stone. That's their steam guns. And they're shooting balls at us. I don't fucking want this guy's balls anywhere near me. See, I don't have a red key, but you notice something. It says a crimson-colored tower. Let's look at this again. This looks like it might be at the top of a crimson-colored tower, if you know what I'm saying. I wonder if we don't go up to... If we don't have the key, we might not be able to get into this tower, which means we might not get the book cover scene. I don't have a red key. You retreat before the advancing Imperial Guardsmen until your backs are pressed against the base of the Crimson Tower. Gildas calls for you to look behind, and when you glance over your shoulder, you see that there is a red door set flush into the tower wall. Forcefully, you push the door, but it will not open. Then, you notice a dial set in the middle of its surface, and in the center of the dial is a small keyhole. The Rangers load their bows and fire repeatedly at the advancing Guardsmen as you attempt to unlock the door to the Crimson Tower. The dial is surrounded by numerals numbering from 0 to 100. Using your Magna Chi discipline of Nexus, you determine that by turning the dial to one of these numbers, you will cause the lock to disengage and the door will open. While examining the dial, you recall the wall safe in the barracks at Yazan. That lock required 3 digits to open it. This requires only 1. The number that will open this lock is equal to the total you get when you add together the 3 digits that open the wall safe. The answer is 12. Because it was 246 before. It's 12. Yeah, you definitely have time to figure out a puzzle while people are shooting at you, right? Yeah, I do want to run some more D&D. I don't know if I want to do more of that random D&D or not. I was thinking about starting up like a regular campaign. Maybe with just like my Twitch viewers, my regulars, you guys, in other words. You guys and Jen and maybe nobody else, actually. Maybe just the three of you. And then we could just have sessions whenever everyone's available and wants to. I was thinking about that, giving that some thought. Then we wouldn't always have random people involved. The whole random people involved thing seemed like a good idea at the time, but the more I think about it, the less I'm thrilled about it, actually. Will Rosati be in it? I think I'll have to have him in it, if just for old time's sake. All right. Anyway, the answer is 12. Got it. Going up to 42 here. The dial emits a loud click, and the heavy door swings inwards without a sound. Quickly you step inside, and then beckon the Rangers to follow. This way! When all three are safely inside, you push the heavy door closed and slide its bolt across, locking it securely. Well, now that we're in this red tower, I'm sure we're perfectly safe. I'm sure we're totally safe in this tower, and no one could possibly get in here to hurt us. Now that we're in this red tower, no one can get up to the top of this red tower and break in any way now. Let's go ahead and go 43. Use the last point of my curing. It's kind of a fuck you for those people who are lucky enough to find the red key. Actually, I've seen him. He's done this lots of times. Where if you find a key or a certain item, you can just get immediately into something. If you don't, you've got to solve a puzzle or do an optional fight, and then you get into the same thing. It just, the item like saves you one step, generally. I've seen, he's been doing that since the early books. You follow Gildas and the others as they climb a wide flight of spiral stairs to the top of the tower. As you ascend, lanterns set at intervals in this wall spontaneously ignite, bathing the stone steps with a warm yellow light. A sumptuous chamber occupies the top floor of the tower. By the time you arrive there, its many lanterns are aglow, and its great log fire is blazing warmly in the grate. The light and heat make for a welcoming arrival, but they give a false impression. Dust lies thickly on the surfaces of every bookshelf, table, and chair. This chamber is well appointed, but it has lain neglected for more than a year. One entire half of the great circular room is dominated by a huge latticed window. Huh? I have a feeling the cover art is extremely impending right now. Through which you can see every rooftop in Zuda. You hurry across the chamber and peer down through the glass at the courtyard below. It is teeming with Benarians, and you fear that they now have you trapped like rats in a very comfortable cage. You raise your eyes and look towards the market square. The Autarch's tent can clearly be seen, with the Tiger's Head shrine standing near. You see its head slowly rotating towards the tower. In the next instant, two pencil-thin beams of red light come shooting from its eyes. Before you can look away, they hit the window, and you are blinded by their terrific glare. Blinded by the light. revved up like a deuce, another runner in the night, blinded by the light. Alright, so I'd love it if, like, you didn't have deliverance and your character's just permanently blinded after that. Subtract 8 from your combat skill, but don't worry, it doesn't matter how bad your combat skill is, you can still win. I do have deliverance, though. I have all the deliverance. A burning pain shoots from the front of your eyes to the rear of your head. Lose 2 endurance points. Well, it could have been worse. You reel back in shock, and quickly you muster your Magna Chi curing skills to numb the pain and restore your injured sight. Wait, did I click on the wrong one? You just asked me if I had deliverance. Why would I use my Magna Chi curing skills? I have deliverance. Why wouldn't I use deliverance? You literally just asked me if I had it. Do you have deliverance? Yes, I do. Oh, too bad. You can't use it here anyway. Take some points of damage and use your Magna Chi curing, sucker. But you just asked me if I had deliverance. Yes, just to fuck with you. To numb your pain and restore your injured sight. But as your vision is returning, you hear a loud crash of breaking glass, and your companions cry out in shock and alarm. You fear a steam gun projectile has smashed through the tower's great glass window, but when your vision clears, you see that it is something far larger and far worse. You know what I'm saying? It's this. We just reached the cover art. Calling it. Here we go, cover art time. Deaver Fever. Hashtag Deaver Fever. Things I never expected when these books started. Tigers firing eye lasers at you. Yeah, right? Things you don't expect to encounter back when you're running around fighting Giaks and shit. You see the fearsome figure of Autarch Senos. Alright, we officially have a vampire in the book. Comes stepping through the chamber's shattered window, like on the cover art. He alights from the platform of his golden sky chariot, on the cover art, which hovers silently beside the tower, on the cover art. Sheathed from neck to toe in black and golden armor, cover art. This warrior stands an arm's length taller than you and your companions, cover art. A great tiger helm conceals his face, cover art, and behind him swirls a voluminous scarlet cloak. Is that on the cover art? I don't remember. Oh yeah, we got scarlet cloak, yeah, okay. Only his hands are visible, and they seem strangely at odds with the grand scale and design of his armor. They are withered and twisted like claws, the skin wrinkled and cracked like burnt parchment. Hanging over them are 4 long, curved, needle-like claws of steel that sprout from the back of the golden bracers which encase his wrists. Gildas and his men reach for their bows and fire repeatedly at the Autarch, like on the cover art. Yet every arrow they send against him ends shattered. From the visor of his helm there issues a thin, chilling laugh. Oh, it's time. It's time to do this.
You cannot kill me with your sharpened sticks, you fools!
Upon hearing this, Pavis and Yalan drop their bows and unsheathe their blades. Pavis shouts a much-practiced cue, and together they attack the Autarch, striking simultaneously from either side. So it's too bad these guys survived through the whole book up to this point, only to die here. With stunning swiftness, Senos retaliates. He reaches out and grabs each man by the throat with his cadaverous hands and raises them several inches from the floor. With a series of metallic clicks, the needle claws extend and turn inwards, puncturing their jugular veins. Their faces blanch as their blood is drained and not a drop is spilt. So here we have crazy tiger helm, crazy claw things. These two getting killed. More as a tiger helmet? Okay, that's hardcore. Cape? Cool, cool. Lacquered armor? Badass. Wolverine claws? Awesome. Iron Man mask? Intimidating. All of them together? Haha, what the fuck is that? Right? characters that have probably never been cosplayed. Autarch Senos from Vampirium. You were shocked by the spectacle of the Autarch's vampiric attack, and your senses scream at you to act to save your brave companions before it is too late. Obviously, Kai Alchemy's in there. Magi magic time. Let's do this. You intone the words of the Old Kingdom's spell, Power Word! And shape your mouth in readiness to utter it. The concussive energy of your spell word slams against the Autarch's helm, and the force of the impact makes him shudder. He releases his grip, and the rangers fall limply to the floor. Then he turns to face you.
Give me the claw!
He demands, his voice booming around the chamber.
Give me the claw, and I shall spare all your worthless lives!
I choose to refuse his command. What the fuck? Who would obey his command? Why would you even? Why would you even? Why would you even? I refuse his command. Your refusal angers the Autarch. You sense a sudden surge of psychic power, and you brace your mental defenses in preparation to meet an expected attack. The Autarch launches a stream of psychic pulses, but they are not directed at you. Captain Gildas is the target. Gildas shudders as the pulses impact deep in his mind. His eyes open widely, but his pupils rise to the ceiling. He is in a trance. He draws his sword, and like a mindless automaton, he swings around and comes marching stiffly towards you. He begins doing the robot. You're all imagining Captain Gildas doing the robot right now. You shout his name repeatedly, but all he can hear are the Autarch's psychic commands to attack and slay you with his sword. Coming at me, still doing the robot. I'm actually doing the robot a little bit in my chair right now, but you can't see me. At first, his blows are clumsy and easy to dodge because he's doing the robot, but the speed of his movements increases until you are backed against the chamber wall with nowhere to go. You have no desire to fight Gildas, but he will slay you unwittingly if you do not defend yourself from his relentless blows. I'll kill Gildas, I don't give a shit. Oh wait, I'm not Lone Wolf. Combat skill 48, endurance 40. It's kind of lame to have a vampire that doesn't even use his teeth to drain blood. He's basically using vampire dentures. I know, right? As you give him the claw, Lone Wolf smashes through the window and one-shots you with the Somrus word before ripping it out of your body and slicing the Autarch in two. Right? If you give him the claw, you are fired. Conduct this combat as normal. All blows that you land upon Gildas are with the flat of your blade. You are attempting to subdue him, not kill him. He's immune to all psychic attacks. He's got some pretty serious combat skill going on here. Immune to psychic attacks, huh? Okay, let's do this. 48, 40. Here we go. Boom, 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 boom. 41, 40, round 1. I lost 1. He lost 11. 40, 29, round 2. I lost 3. He lost 7. 37, 22, round 3. Oh, he lost a grip that time. 16 he lost, and I lost none. 37 and 6, let's finish this shit. I'm down to 33. He's dead. Well, he's subdued, quote unquote. 33. We had best, just to be safe, I'm gonna drink 2 of these right now. Just to be safe. Take myself back up to 41. Gildas falls unconscious at your feet, and you hear the Autarch's thin laughter echoing around the chamber. He has enjoyed watching the two of you fight, but now he wants what he has come all the way from Otavai for.
You have the claw! I sense it!
He growls in a quiet, menacing tone.
Give it to me, and you shall be rewarded. Deny me, and you will perish in agony.
Your Kai senses detect that the evil aura which surrounds the Autarch is growing stronger. Suddenly, you feel a strong wave of nausea rising in the pit of your stomach, and you feel unable to prevent it from overwhelming your senses. Do you possess some Poglam? No? Yep, that's a big old no. I sure don't. You draw upon your psychic defenses, but to no avail. In this instance, they fail to protect you from the concentration of ancient evil that is present within this chamber. Lose 4 endurance points. No! Alright. Alright, this shit needs to wrap up reasonably soon, because I'm down to my last bottle of water here. Let's beat this chump. No, that wasn't Poglam, Nox. That wasn't Poglam. Was it? I don't think it was. I think it had a different name. I would have remembered Poglam. Poglam. The whole time he's making slurping noises as he drinks the blood like a Pabst Blue Ribbon. More like making like disgusted sounds as he drinks it like a Pabst Blue Ribbon. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, I bet those claws link up to a tube that, like a straw that goes into his mouth, like those old hats that you could put beer into. I'm sure they do. Yeah, legit. What? What? As the nausea subsides, you see the Autarch come stalking forward, slashing and scything at you with his needle claws. He is like an angry tiger. As you duck below one sweeping attack, he catches you in the back with a lightning-fast following strike. His needle claws become embedded in your backpack, and it is wrenched from your back when he sends you crashing headlong against the chamber wall. Lose 2 endurance points. You must now erase everything in your backpack. What the fuck, game? That's horrible, man. Look how many potions I just lost. And my bag of holding? And my cron pipe? No. Dude, you're right. I do need the Darth Vader no. I didn't think I was gonna need it. But I do. I sure do. I mean, my entire backpack? My bag of holding? All those potions? My cron pipe? My rope? No, that doesn't get a no. Alright. I cannot believe that just happened. No, it's a backpack item. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure. At the time I looked it up. Or I mean, I was careful to look to see whether it was or not because I wanted it to be a special item. But I'm pretty sure they said it's a backpack item that takes up a space in the backpack, but gives you 5 extra spaces in the backpack. I don't know. Hold on. Let's just see if there's anything about it on the internets. Fall of Blood Mountain. Suggested disciplines for the Fall of Blood Mountain. Herb Mastery. Right there. Course Kai Alchemy is one of the suggested disciplines. Cut the games. When do you get the bag of... Ah, here. Right here. Here it is. Drodaran Bag of Holding. This backpack item can be used to store 5 additional backpack items. I just looked it up. It said it was a special item. Where did you look it up? $330. It's in the special items section on this wiki, but look, if we go to the actual book here, we go to the actual book, and we go to the numbered section, and we go to 330, it's very specific here. It says this is a special item, it says this is a special item, and here it specifically says this backpack item. It's very clear. Very clear. Yeah, the wiki's wrong. Well, it's gone. Alright, hold on. I'll erase that stuff in a minute. There's maybe some chance you can get your stuff back. Sometimes they fuck with you like that. Contents of your backpack are scattered across the floor, including the Claw of Nar, which skitters towards the fire. The tip of its haft hits the grate and spears a burning log. The Autarch moves towards the fire, but you are too dazed from your collision with the wall to attempt to stop him. Painfully, you drag yourself to your feet. Can you avoid losing the backpack if you have the poogram or whatever? I don't know, let's find out. I have some poogram, it heals me. No, it just heals you and then you lose everything in your backpack. What happens if you just decide to give him the claw? I don't know, it's a good question. He probably still destroys your backpack because he's a giant dick. Some stuff happens, some other stuff happens, some other stuff happens. Maybe you don't lose your backpack. So if you give him the fucking claw like an asshole, if you give him the claw like a jackass, like who would even do that? If you betray everything and give him the claw, you don't lose your backpack. Well... Senos approaches the fire and stoops to retrieve the claw, but then he hesitates. His skeletal hand trembles and he seems powerless to control it. You sense that he is afraid of the flames. It is his one vital weakness. Elementalism! Roar! Flames, roar up, kill him, get him with fire. You rush towards him and land a kick to his... A kick? A kick? I'm fighting a heavily armored 3,000-year-old vampire. I have a magic weapon. I have the power to control fire, which we know he's afraid of. But I decide the tactical option we're going for here is to run up and kick him. Kick him. For the love of God, Fire Snake. For the love of God. Land a kick to his side, toppling him over. Before he can rise again, you grab the haft of the claw and tug it from the fire. A burning log is skewered upon its tip. It flares brightly when you thrust it at the Autarch's helm and he rolls away towards the shattered window. You follow up and jab at his hands and he shrieks with fear. Then he tries to stand, and as he is levering himself up from the floor, you leap into the air and land a two-footed... Wow, we're kick crazy. Holy shit. We're all these kicks. Motherfucker thinks he's Benny the Jet up in here. Alright, land a two-footed kick to his chest that sends him somersaulting backwards. With a wailing cry, he tumbles out of the window and plummets into the courtyard below. This guy's not very good at being a 3,000-year-old vampire. Same decision-making process that led to your Kai weapon being damaged, yeah. Okay, now that he's gone, can I pick up some of my things off the floor that were in my backpack? Can I pick up some of the things off my floor? One thing. Can I pick up one thing off the floor? You smash the head of the claw against the floor to remove the burning log, and then tuck the artifact in your belt. Below, you can hear the door to the tower being blown off its hinges, and an old fear returns to chill your blood. The Autarch's guards are storming up the stairs. It is only a matter of seconds before they will enter the chamber. Your instincts tell you to save your unconscious companions, but your rational mind tells you that this is now impossible. There is only time enough to save yourself. Ah, now we're getting into some lone wolf shit. You bid them a sad farewell as you run towards the open window and leap out onto the platform of the Autarch's sky chariot. Below, you glimpse the Imperial guards gathered around the body of the Autarch. To your amazement, you see that they are helping their leader to his feet. Senos is still alive. Yeah, that's not surprising. Quickly, you look to the controls of the sky chariot and they seem vaguely familiar. They are similar in design and purpose to those found at the helm of Cloud Dancer, albeit on a smaller, simpler scale. You place your right hand on a sparkling sphere, but as you are pushing it forwards to make the chariot advance, a handful of the Imperial guards in the courtyard below fire a volley of projectiles at you. Fire Snake decision making. Does a square peg go into a round hole? No? I know. What about the square peg? Yeah, basically. Yeah, you could either have this ultra-long boss fight, or you could say, here's the claw, kick some fire, insta-win. Man. God damn it. Joe Deaver is some bullshit, dude. He is some bullshit. He is just getting meaner and meaner with each book. He never used to be about finding ways to trick you and, like, screw you over for something, you know. It never used to be about that in the old books. These more recent books, the later books, well, the whole New Order series basically has been about fucking you over, like with gitchas, with oh, if you do this, you know, it'll mysteriously turn out really bad for some reason, for no reason that you possibly could have predicted. The Autarch has given the order. He is determined not to let you get away. Really want to know what Storms of Chai... I know, he's had all these years to get even older and meaner and more crotchety. Storms of Chai must just be like, fucking, as written by Marquis de Sade. Like... Okay, I don't have a semblance. So here we go. That's an insta-death right there. That's an insta-death. Let's see if I get it. No, I got a 5. One of the steam gun projectiles gouges your shoulder. Lose 3 endurance points. If you survive this wounding, turn to 68. Is it basically the Necronomicon of Gamebooks? Yeah, I don't know. I would say it's probably pretty bad. You have to pay like $100 million to get it in North America, though, apparently, so... You grab the chariot's guide rail as you thrust your right hand forwards on the glittering sphere. The sky chariot surges forwards, and as you leave the courtyard and tower, you hear Autarch Senos scream a vow that he will take vengeance upon you for the defeat you have dealt him this day. So basically, he's the new Kadak, like I said before. He's the new Kadak. I mean, we know he's going to be in the next book. His name is in the title of the next book, so... You steer the sky chariot away to the east and flee towards the friendlier skies of Chai. As the wind whips your face, you feel the sweet exhilaration of victory. Yet it is tempered by the memory of the brave men you had to leave behind. Yeah, it is really stupid looking, you're right, Saito. That fucking tiger head on the front of it. That's just ridiculous looking sky chariot. It's amazing. It's just amazing. What is this random ball in the back here, too? Like, I don't even... Yeah, it's a sky chariot. It's ridiculous looking. The brave men. The brave backpack items I had to leave behind. Oh, we just won the book, yo. This is a Pyrrhic victory, though. I barely even consider this a victory. Losing all your backpack items is just unacceptable at this point. As the sun rises over the eastern horizon, you catch your first glimpse of the formidable Chai Wall. You cast your eye along its entire length and observe the 3 great forts of Xian, Kanani, and Zheng. The tall crenellated walls of Fort Zheng lie directly ahead, and as you speed near to them, you observe something else, something unexpected and greatly welcome, which makes your spirits soar. You also reflect upon the fact that they spent how much time and money building that big wall, and you can just casually fly over it in your sky chariot. Yeah, I got my main weapon nerfed, and lost all my backpack items, including my sweet-ass bag of holding. Oh, it hurts. It just hurts. It hurts so bad. You see the unmistakable shape of Cloud Dancer, silhouetted against the rising sun. It hovers above the central keep of Fort Zheng, and with it, and with the wind in your hair and a cry of victory on your lips, you bank your sky chariot towards it. Lord Ramoa and Lord Gadra are among the many on deck who are anxiously watching and praying for you to appear, though no one is expecting your arrival will be by air. The crew can hardly believe their eyes when you bring the sky chariot down to land upon the deck. Within seconds of touching down, you are surrounded by a mass of cheering countrymen. Lord Ramoa appears among the excited throng. With tears of joy in his eyes, he embraces you and then offers up a prayer of thanksgiving to Goddess Ishir for your safe return. You deliver to him the Claw of Nar, and he vows that this accursed artifact will be destroyed by the Elder Magi to prevent it from ever falling into the hands of Autarch Senos. Congratulations, Grandmaster. You have met this difficult challenge, and you have triumphed. Your brave and daring exploits will long be remembered in the legends of the New Order Kai. Yet the fight against evil goes on. Soon your courage and Kai skills will be tested anew. The nature of the quest and the dangers that await you will be revealed in the next exciting Lone Wolf New Order adventure entitled The Hunger of Senos. Yeah. And so the next book is obviously about him again. Wonder if Deaver already knew the series was going to be discontinued. Why do you say that? I doubt he knew that it was going to be. I don't think the next book is going to be written in such a way as to imply that it's meant to be the end of the series. I just don't think it is. And we just arrived in Chai, and the next book is called The Storms of Chai. So obviously, Fire Snake, or the protagonist, doesn't leave Chai in the next book, and so, or stays in the Chai area. And so then you're still in the Chai area for the book after that. You could go full sadist here, yeah. Man, after taking away my whole backpack. Oh, the Dradarn bag of holding! So many good potions. The Kron pipe. Everything's gone. I no longer have the Claw of Nar. No. Well, we completed another one. We completed another one. Wasn't easy. Died a couple times. This is as bad as that time I lost my towel. The blessing of Sato was terrible. Terrible. Oh, apparently there's a 30th book already named called Dead in the Deep. Interesting. Storms of Chai. Spoiler alert, Autarch Sejanos dies because... Spoiler alert, construction of a second Kai monastery. See what the next one looks like. Oh, hell no. What is this thing? That doesn't look okay. That doesn't look even a little bit okay. Losing the archery contest was no big deal. That never really bothered me. You just get some lame bow for it. Who the fuck wants a cool bow? I mean, a lame bow. Bow that purports to be cool, but is actually lame. Yeah, too bad astrology didn't tell you anything useful. It just made you take damage. Thanks, astrology. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Joe. So we made it to Chai. Where's the Great Wall at? I don't really see the Great Wall on the... Oh, that must be the wall, because it's the Fort Xian and Zhang and Kanani. Man, that wall looks tiny as fuck on the map. It's not that great of a wall, really. That shit is like 50 miles long. Lol, get out of here with your 50-mile long wall. Yeah, if astrology gave you a hint about letting him have the claw, that would have been way more awesome. Well, we finished another one. We did it. Even though it hurt. It hurt real bad. We did get it done. Is the chai wall visible from space, though? I doubt it. So, next time, we will complete the final Lone Wolf book, what is effectively the final Lone Wolf book for us. I'm under 4 hours. I'm under 4 hours. So we're still doing pretty short ones compared to when they were 6 and 6.5 hours. Next time we'll do Hunger of Sejanons. That'll be the final Lone Wolf book that I do in this format. But pretty exciting. I can't believe we've gone through 27 of these. It's just amazing. So thanks for watching. This has been Josiah Plays Lone Wolf, Book 27, Vampirium.